Hey everybody, welcome to Dino Brickhaven. I am Dino. What is going on? This should be the final Stream 4, final finishing up of FunWhole's Western Saloon. I know I'm starting about a half hour earlier than usual, but I just wanted to get it in, make sure all the lights are complete, everything's plugged in good, and the finishing touches are put on. And that's what I'm going to do. If this is your first time here, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and all that good stuff. You know what to do. Harry Scott, what's going on? Yeah, half hour early. Hopefully people will start coming in as I start to build and finish this up. But I've got two more sets of bags, and then I should be able to plug this baby in, light it up, and see how it is. But as you can see, so far, let me get this up here. Right here, I mean, it's looking good. All I got to do is the top right now, the saloon sign, and all the lights are hooked up properly and good. And let me see if I can get this. And I'm going to play some Let George Do It tonight with Bob Bailey. Let me get this up. I got to be careful. I will get this as close as I can. The second floor. And see, this has a door that opens up that shows everything in the back. And it's kind of hard to tell, you know, from that angle and from a close-up. But as you can see, hopefully, let's see. Let me get this. I want to show what I've done so far. I made the second floor. It's got the balcony there, the clock. It's got like kind of a wanted poster sign, but the staircase is awesome. You can see the bar on the lower level there. And the seats, the table, the piano's under the staircase. This is going to look sweet when it's all lit up. I love the staircase, though. They made it really look and give it that Western feel. I like how this opens up in the back, too, to give you like a full-on view of the scene. But the porch, the wraparound porch looks great. I think that is pretty darn cool too. Top level, cattle bones, all that good stuff. So yeah, and if you could see what I'm holding, it's a little farther back on the top screen. But that looks good, man. Wait till the saloon sign goes up. Anyways, that's what I'm going to start doing now. I am going to start building this, and we will listen to some Let George Do It as I put this finishing touches to the saloon. I'm not sure which way I got to, turn it. But also on the Late Late Horror Show, I got CBS Radio Mystery Theater tonight with some timestamps, all that good stuff. Ending in the morning with the news. So there's a clip at the end, 15 minutes of the news too at the end. Horror Junkie for Life, hello. JLR, what's going on? Good to see you guys here. Sweet Indigo, hey, what's going on? Hi Boy Donuts, and I think that's it right now. So there you go. Like I said, a little early, but that is okay. I am going to begin the building process. I'm almost done, yay, because I want to move on to another, I think, Lego modular building to put in my city. And the city is going to get an updated video real soon too, because I had my son working with me, and we put together a recycling garbage truck, which actually works. It's like a Technics. It brings the garbage up and dumps it inside. Pretty cool. I changed some things up, like I said before. I've got a coffee truck, and I've got an ice cream truck. And I'm thinking of making a food truck area kind of next to the park, where I was going to put two modular buildings, but I'm going to expand two tables out, make it bigger, and, you know, we shall see. We shall see. But definitely good to see everybody. Much love. Hopefully you guys... oh, wait, what's Horror Junkie doing? Pasta is cooking. Good to be here. Sorry I missed last night's movie. No worries. It was a good one. Hellraiser 3. It definitely was good. Wish I could record those and keep those. But also trying to get more people over here to subscribe to the channel. But it is what it is. I'll keep posting over there and saying I'm live over here. I'm playing some old time radio as I build this. And hopefully I can get some people over here. So It is what it is. Let's see. We will play some Let George Do It. How about from 1948, Let George Do It, Have Some Excitement. So we will play that episode right now as I begin to finish the building process. I don't know how long this is going to take me, but we definitely should get done tonight. So there's not much left. Anyways, here we go. Let George Do It, Have Some Excitement from 1948. Looks like June 7th of 1948. Here we go. Let George Do It.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It. Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. Danger is my stock and trade. If it's too hot for you to handle and far off the beaten track, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
My dear sir, if you're a moviegoer at all, you must know me, Peter Murch, the small, ineffectual man everyone laughs at as soon as he appears on the screen. But there's nothing humorous about my present dilemma. After 30 years, I'm to be starred in my next picture. But unless you can help me, I'll have to say no to this dream of a lifetime. This is hard to explain
in so many words. But if you'll meet me at the Farm Food Vegetarian Restaurant at 1 o'clock today, I'll explain everything. Signed, urgently, Peter Murch.
Oh, sure, Brooksy. You know, that gnome-like character from the movies?
Oh, Casper Milquetoast himself.
That's the guy.
The henpecked little man who puts galoshes over his rubbers when it rains.
George Valentine, maker of stars. Hey, I wonder how I fit into this
Well, I can't wait to find out.
Well, then, on to Mr. Murch.
Oh, but just one thing, George.
Yeah, what's that, Angel?
Well, if we have to have lunch at a vegetarian restaurant, could we stop off for a hamburger first?
Vegaburgers. I insist we have vegaburgers for lunch.
Vegaburgers?
Yes, indeed, Miss Brooks.
Vegaburgers?
And if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know they were made of nuts and choice legumes. Peas, beans...
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be real tasty. But what about your letter? What's on your mind, Mr. Murch?
Oh, dear. I knew that letter would sound confusing.
To say the least.
You see, Mr. Valentine, I had a long talk with my psychoanalyst. And you know what?
What?
I'm schizophrenic.
Oh, no.
I'm not one person, I'm two, battling furiously with each other.
Who's winning?
I'm not really that mild, retiring little man that millions of people know. No. There's another side of me that craves excitement, even violence.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. Murch.
But it's quite true, young man. My psychoanalyst tells me I just can't go on being a house divided. No. I simply must involve myself in some kind of exciting adventure.
Well, what does your doctor expect you to do? Go out and kiss the first beautiful blonde you see on the street?
Oh, no. I'm serious, Mr. Valentine. Look at me. Practically a nervous wreck. I simply can't go on being the prim Peter Murch my public expects of me. When the director says, lights, camera, I begin to shake. So that's the other side of me coming out.
Oh, that's bad.
Yes, I break into a cold sweat. I feel like screaming. Right out there in front of everybody.
Well, maybe all you need is a good scream.
Oh, no, it isn't that simple. My psychoanalyst says I've been playing the timid soul in my personal life as well as on the screen. And it's affecting me. Anyway, I can't go into this new picture.
Oh, but Mr. Murch, you've worked so hard all these years. And this is your first starring role.
And it would be my first failure, too, in my mental condition.
And, you want me to provide the excitement?
Yes, Mr. Valentine. Perhaps introduce me to some low, disreputable characters. Take me to places where almost anything can happen, you know.
You really think that would help?
Well, my psychoanalyst seems to think so. You will help me, won't you, Mr. Valentine?
Well,
I'll pay your regular fee and whatever expenses we incur.
Well, okay, it's a deal. We'll see what forms of mild excitement we can find for you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Valentine. I'll be grateful to you as long as I live. Can we start now?
Oh, hey, wait a minute. I have to make some plans. What about 8 o'clock tonight? You see, I usually don't go out hunting excitement, Mr. Murch. As a rule, it just happens.
Oh, no, George. You're not going to take poor Mr. Murch to Mark Logan's grotto.
Well, he wants excitement.
Yeah, but not that low dive. He'll faint as soon as he gets in the door.
Oh, darling, Mark Logan is a respectable citizen these days. He's gone straight.
Yeah, in a crooked sort of way.
He's running a genteel pool parlor and so-called grill. And if a fight breaks out now and then, you can't blame Mark.
Try and hit me with a pool cue, are you?
Ah, you had it coming. I seen you move that number 7 ball when your tunnel wasn't looking. Why do you...
Oh, Mr. Valentine. Oh, my goodness.
This'll show you.
Well, here you are, Mr. Murch. Life on the raw.
Oh, my, this is exciting. 3rd brawl in 1 hour.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Okay, let that mug get up or beat his brains in.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you apart.
Come on now, you two lugs. Break it up and get back to your game. I'm running a respectable joint here.
Not yet, Logan. Not before I split his skull with his chair.
My goodness.
Oh, another inch, Mr. Murch, and that chair would have parted your head.
Yeah, and permanently.
Okay, beat it, both of you. Finish it out in the alley.
All right, Logan, it won't take me long.
I'll make you look like a pound of hamburger, brother. Don't forget.
You gotta excuse him, Mr. Valentine. The boys get kind of playful once in a while.
Oh, sure, Mr. Logan. And you lose more pool cues that way.
Mr. Murch, we'd better get out of here before things really get rough.
Oh, I wouldn't think of it for a moment. I'm just beginning to feel better.
Oh. Mr. Murch.
Yes, Mr. Valentine.
Here's a nickel.
Oh, thank you.
Why don't you get something on the jukebox over there? I want to talk to Mr. Logan a minute.
This is so exciting. Evening out in week.
Don't pay no attention to them numbers, Mr. Murch. Wherever you put your nickel, all you get is Mother McCree. That's my favorite.
George, I'm afraid we've underestimated our timid soul. He can't get enough.
Yeah, and you certainly did your best, Logan.
Yeah, which brings up a point, Mr. Valentine. I don't want to be mercenary or nothing like that.
Yeah?
But there's a question of money. Joe and Alex just now almost killed themselves. There's them other 2 fights we framed up.
Okay, Logan, here you are. This ought to take care of the boys.
Yeah, thanks. Say, if I knew you was willing to pay this much, I could have fixed up something real messy for the old boy. Oh, that song. Ain't it beautiful? Mother McCree.
Yeah, sure. Got any other ideas for excitement, Logan?
Well, that little guy don't scare easy. Now, wait. How about this? When you people leave the joint, I'll get the boys to drive up in a big black sedan.
Yeah?
They grab the little guy and take him out in the country for a spell.
You mean kidnap him?
Oh, I wouldn't put it that way, Miss Brooks. They lock him in a cellar for a couple of days, keep him tied up. Ain't gonna hurt him now.
Oh.
Hey, hold it, Logan. That's going a little too far.
Yeah. I've got an idea. Yeah. And I think it'll work, too.
What's that?
Here's what you do. You take Mr. Murch out to the Seaside Amusement Park.
Oh, after this, a ride on the Ferris wheel is going to leave him cold.
It's nothing like that. You're going to take him through the Tunnel of Love.
Oh, Mr. Logan, I'll admit you can find a certain kind of excitement in the Tunnel of Love. But I doubt if Peter Murch is my type.
He was talking to me, Brooksy.
He's not your type either.
What I was thinking, Mr. Valentine, is I happen to know the guy who runs the Tunnel of Love. His name is Len Dimmick.
Oh, goody, George. Maybe we can get a special discount.
What I mean is I'll call up Len and have him take the trip through the tunnel with you, personal. He's one of them practical jokers, so he'll play along with the gag. Now, dream up a couple of stunts. Leave it to Len to find a way to scare the pants off you, Mr. Murch.
Well, it's worth a try, Logan, and the night's getting shorter. I gotta earn my fee.
You want to get out of that amusement park quick, better take Walton Boulevard. They're tearing up Grayson Avenue.
Okay, thanks a lot, Logan. Oh, Mr. Murch.
Yes, Mr. Valentine?
If you can drag yourself away from Mother McCree, we'd like you to join us in a blood-curdling journey through the Tunnel of Love.
Oh, just think of it. The 3 of us, alone, together. This should be real exciting.
Nice racket you got here, Dimmick. Selling 5 minutes worth of darkness?
Darkness is a valuable commodity, Mr. Valentine.
It is?
Yeah, just like I was telling Mr. Murch here.
Well, after all those gruesome things you've been telling us, I don't think I want to hear any more.
Well, thanks, Mr. Murch. Dimmick is right. Now, could you find a cozier place for a murder than a tunnel of love?
Yeah, that reminds me. I remember a happy couple who took a ride through here just for a little innocent smooching. And then,
Yes?
suddenly death struck. A silent, cruel blow.
I wish we had some light in here.
What? In the tunnel of love?
Oh, yeah, I remember that, Tilly. It was an unsolved crime, wasn't it?
Often wondered how the poor man was killed, and how the young lady felt when she heard him scream. Here, in the darkness.
Oh, Mr. Dimmick. What was that?
Oh, one of the many voices of darkness that echoed through the tunnel of love.
Just calm yourself, Mr. Murch.
Well, I wasn't really frightened at all, Mr. Valentine.
You're a brave man, Mr. Murch. Nobody knows what the next step into the darkness may lead to. Nobody knows.
Mr. Dimmick.
I think our friend missed his profession. He should have been an actor.
Mr. Valentine. Mr. Dimmick, I think he's fainted.
Huh?
Fainted?
And his hair. I think it's blood.
Oh, what are you talking about? Wait.
My head.
Let me get to it.
George, he's not there.
I'll light a match.
Look at him. We've got to get him out of here, get him to a hospital.
In my...
He's trying to say something to you, Mr. Valentine.
What is it, Dimmick? What is it? What are you trying to say?
In my pocket.
Oh.
Transfer.
Yeah.
Take it. Bus. Transfer. Hold on. Huh?
We'll get a doctor, Mr. Dimmick. He'll take care of you.
Here, strike another match, will you, Mr. Murch?
Yes.
I don't think Dimmick has much use for a doctor now, Brooksy.
George.
But, Mr. Valentine, this can't be true. Why, things like this simply don't happen.
I'm afraid this is an exception to the rule, Mr. Murch. Dimmick's been murdered.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about how to be kind to your starter. It's often the little things that make your day a good one or a rough one. The simple business of starting your car, for example. If it's obstinate and gives you a bad time when you want to get going, it can add up to a lot of irritation. For fast starts every time, and wherever you're driving, just try Chevron Supreme gasoline in your car. This premium quality gasoline is climate-tailored, specially adapted to each different climate and altitude zone in the West.
Yeah, showed the inside at the beginning of the
Summer or winter, you
stream.
can
It's
depend
looking
upon it
good.
for fast starts. And that's a saving, too, of the power in your battery. What's more, Chevron Supreme gives your car smooth acceleration and extra power for rugged hills. Get a tank full tomorrow at any standard station or independent Chevron gas station where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. Well, here's the situation. You take on a cockeyed job because that happens to be your business. A character actor wants you to provide him with some excitement because his psychoanalyst told him he's been playing the meek, timid type so long, it's beginning to affect his work. So you give Peter Murch a ride for his money, including a ride through the tunnel of love in an amusement park. And then, murder strikes in the darkness.
Valentine?
Yeah, Lieutenant Riley.
Usually people manage to get killed in bed, in their home, or on the street. But Dimmick gets murdered in his own tunnel of love. And you're right there with him.
Oh, I know it sounds fantastic, Lieutenant. But believe me, we were just trying to introduce a little excitement into Mr. Murch's life.
That's right. It was all very innocent.
Oh, well, how was George to know anything like this would happen?
Miss Brooks, I'm just a public servant. I get paid a reasonable sum each month to maintain law and order. And I don't like it when somebody gets paid to promote pool room brawls and instigate other forms of public disturbance.
All right, stop quoting the police manual, Lieutenant. Whatever happened here tonight would have happened whether I was in on this deal or not.
It's just that my psychoanalyst said...
Mr. Murch, why don't you go somewhere and have a nice, quiet, nervous breakdown?
My
When I'm through here, I'll come and join you. Murder in the tunnel of love.
Oh, Lieutenant.
Yes, Brennan?
The doc just got through with Dimmick. Skull fracture. Blunt instrument.
All right, I'll be right there. Tell the boys to get some lights set up in that tunnel. We're going to go over it inch by inch.
Yes, sir.
Now, Valentine, I suppose you're going to go home to your nice warm bed.
Oh, well, I'll be glad to stick around, give you a hand.
No, thanks. I've got enough trouble. But I want to see you the first thing in the morning in my office.
Sure.
And you too, Miss Brooks.
Yes.
And Mr. Murch.
Yes?
It might give you a little extra excitement to see the inside of a police station. So be there at 9 sharp.
But looks like we're not wanted around here, so come on, Mr. Murch. I still think I ought to drop you off at your hotel, Mr. Murch.
Yes, you've had enough for one night.
Well, my wife and I are staying at the Fenmore right here on Grayson Avenue.
Come on.
But I can tell, Mr. Valentine, you're not just giving up this case like that. Oh, no. You're up to something, aren't you?
Well, yeah, you stirred up a hornet's nest somehow or other, and I want to see what it's all about.
And I'm going to be right there with you.
Oh, hey,
No,
wait.
there's no use arguing.
George?
Yeah, Brooksy?
Was that part of a bus transfer Dimmick wanted you to have? What do you make of it?
I don't know yet.
Well, why should anyone keep a piece of old transfer? Now, that's probably one of the most worthless things in the world.
And only a third of a transfer at that.
That man insisted that you have it. With his dying breath. Must mean something.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the lieutenant makes out of it. I gave it to him. Told him what Dimmick said.
But you've made something out of it already, haven't you, Doc? Come on, let's have it.
Well, as a matter of fact, you can tell a lot from a bus transfer, Brooksy.
Man, did that give me
if you look at
a
it
lot of
very carefully.
problems there.
Meaning what?
Yeah.
That it was issued by the Orange Bus Company, route number 411. And the little punch holes, one for the year, one for the month, and even the day and the hours during which it was good.
You noticed all those things?
That transfer was issued July 29th, 1943, between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m.
All of which still means nothing to me.
Oh, me either at this point. But I have an idea the late Mr. Dimmick meant it to provide free transportation for his murderer to the end of the line.
Hey, why are we turning off, George? Where are we going?
Hey, you know something, Brooksy? Riley and I don't always agree, but he knows his business, and so do his boys. We're going down to police headquarters.
Well, what for, Mr. Valentine?
The police don't miss much, and when they do, they make a record of it so they'll never forget. And that's where we're headed, Mr. Murch. The Department of Unsolved Crimes.
Oh, it's you, Valentine.
Yeah, and this time I brought you a container of coffee, Dawson. Thought you'd need it.
Well, the sleepier we can get down in this department, the better we like it. Who are your friends?
Oh, my assistant, Miss Brooks and Mr. Murch.
How do you do?
What do you want, Valentine? You know these files aren't open to the public.
Well, I'm not just the public, Dawson. Your boss, Riley, told me to be down here tomorrow morning and be sure I had the right information.
He said that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go on. Call him up. Check for yourself.
Oh, no, as long as he said so. What do you want to know?
If there were any unsolved crimes on July 29th, 1943.
July 43, let's see. Oh, it's that file in the corner near the window.
Okay, thanks.
What are you looking for, Mr. Valentine?
The murderer, I hope.
You and I ought to be used to being left in the dark, Mr. Murch.
Let's see. Yeah, July 1943. Let's see what we got in this folder. Stolen car, front of Grant and Company, burglary, and...
Yes?
And on July 29th, 5:35 p.m., $200,000 jewel robbery at Smith and Allenby Jewelers on 5th Street.
The date on the transfer.
Uh-huh.
And that picture. That's our Mr. Dimmick.
Leonard Dimmick, 38, clerk at Smith and Allenby's. No suspicion of collusion and holdup.
But Dimmick was operating a tunnel of
A
love.
lot
Me
of
and
things
Dave
can happen in
tomorrow.
a man's life in 5 years,
Yep.
Brooksy.
Let's see that, George. No getaway car used in robbery as far as known. Passerby observed man in gray suit carrying briefcase board orange bus outside jewelry store almost immediately after holdup. Witness positive man was running from store.
Oh, dear me, this is just too much for me.
Traced bus driver number 602, but no information on man in gray suit. Well, that's that, kids. Now we've really got to work fast.
What's the rush, George?
If we don't move fast, Brooksy, there's going to be another murder.
Mr. Valentine, as I told you, this is the busiest time of the day for us here at the depot. You know, getting the buses out on schedule.
Yeah, I understand, Mr. Eldridge. But look, this is very important. Who was your bus driver, number 602, on July 29th, 1943?
Oh, very well. If you can't wait, I'll look it up for you. See, we have a file here on every man who ever worked for us. 44, 43, July the 29th. Oh, yeah, here we are.
Yeah?
Yeah, number 602. It was a Bob Gray.
Still work for you?
Oh, yeah, Bob's still with us. As a matter of fact, he's one of our steadiest men. There's nothing wrong, is there?
I don't know yet. Well, where can I get hold of Mr. Graves?
Why, I don't know. This is his day off.
All right, what's his address? Come on.
1411 Dever Street.
1411. Looks like a rooming house.
Yeah, with the inevitable sign. No rooms.
Could you take these steps a little slower, please?
Oh, Mr. Murch, I almost forgot about you.
Well, I'm not just as young as I used to be.
Who is? But right now, I'm interested in seeing that someone else has a chance to grow a little older.
Wait a minute, George. There's a name here under this bell.
What does it say?
Bob Gray.
That's our man.
But who is Bob Gray?
An honest toiler, Mr. Murch. To be more specific, a bus driver. To be more specific, bus driver number 602, who had a very busy day, July 29th, 1943.
Yeah, who is it?
A friend of yours sent me over to talk to you, Graves.
Go on, beat it. Get out of here.
Okay, Bob. But Len Dimmick wouldn't like the way you treat me.
What'd you say? Who are you?
There's nothing much I can say with that gun stuck in my midriff.
Never mind that. Who are these two?
Just friends. What do you say we go inside and close the door? It'll be much easier that way.
Okay. Well, what's this about Dimmick? Come on, talk.
I wish he wouldn't keep pointing that gun. It makes me nervous.
Nothing like excitement, is there, Mr. Murch?
Look, mister, you said something about Dimmick. What about him?
He's dead.
So what? You bringing me an invitation to his funeral?
No, I'm just trying to postpone your funeral.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just this, listen. You're going to have a visitor any time now. I'm surprised he hasn't shown up before.
I still say what's that supposed to mean?
All right, friend, if that's your attitude. And I thought you had to have some brains to be a bus driver.
How do you know so much about me?
And being a bus driver, you should appreciate the value of a transfer. Even a piece of a transfer.
Transfer?
That's right.
All right, spill it. And remember, I got this gun in your gut.
George, be careful.
Don't worry, Brooks. He's much too curious to shoot.
Yes, but that gun may go off accidentally.
Who's that? Did you bring the cops?
I didn't bring anybody. That's your visitor.
What?
Cool down your trigger finger and listen to me.
What's this all about? Are you a cop?
I'm strictly on my own. But if I'm right, whoever's knocking on that door is here to kill you. I'm not kidding now.
Well...
And no one knows it better than you. You gonna do as I tell you?
Oh. All right.
Brooksy, you and Mr. Murch get over there in that corner. Wait in the door. Make it snappy.
Yes, George. Come on, Mr. Murch.
Now, Graves, open up. Try to be natural. Put that gun away.
Yeah.
I'll be standing right here in back of the door.
Well, Graves, I was beginning to think you were out.
You know how it is, Logan. My day off. I guess I fell asleep.
Awful thing happened to Len Dimmick, didn't it?
Yeah, I heard about it. Come inside, huh?
And just when we were going to split everything 3 ways.
Yeah, that's right.
That makes the gravy all the richer for you and me, don't it?
I don't get it.
And if there was only one, there'd be nothing but gravy left.
What are you talking about?
You want me to interpret?
Valentine, you...
What Logan means, Graves, is he was going to kill you just as he killed Dimmick.
You're out of your mind.
Maybe, but you killed Len Dimmick.
When I heard about Len, I thought it was something like that.
Don't listen to him, Bob.
You were just too clumsy about it, Logan. I took Grayson Avenue coming back. It wasn't torn up at all the way you said.
So what?
You sent us the long way so you could get to the Tunnel of Love before us.
That's right, George. And he'd be the only one to know that Dimmick would be inside the Tunnel of Love with us. He arranged the whole thing.
Oh, my goodness.
You sneaked into the tunnel before us, Logan. You were waiting on the platform for the boat to pass.
But in the darkness, it could have been me. I could have had my head bashed in. I don't think I feel so good.
No, it wouldn't have been you, Mr. Murch. Len Dimmick was doing all the talking. Made himself the perfect target.
Graves, you're not going to believe this guy, are you?
Yeah, I believe him. You killed Len, and you came here to kill me so you could have all the gravy you was talking about.
Put that gun down, Bob. Put it down.
Double-cross me, will you?
Yeah, let me have that, Graves. You got a big enough rap against you now.
George, let's go.
He shot Mr. Logan.
And the first one who moves will get what he got. I'm getting out.
Stay where you are. Drop that gun.
Huh?
I said drop it. That's better.
Oh, Lieutenant
Glad to
Riley.
see you, Lieutenant.
Sergeant Dawson called and said you were snooping around the Unsolved Crimes Department, so I had you tailed. Now, who's this guy on the floor here? How bad's he hurt?
My arm.
You should have blown your head off.
Brennan, get this man out of here to a hospital, whoever he is.
That's Mark Logan, Lieutenant. Ex-con. Now runs a pool parlor.
Now, what's this all about?
Well, Logan's one end of a triangle. Len Dimmick, former jewelry clerk, was the second. And Graves here, bus driver, is the third. They're the trio who waltzed through that Smith and Allenby job back in 43.
How do you know all of this, Valentine?
Lieutenant, I think that if you go through Logan's clothes when he gets to the hospital, you'll find a third of a bus transfer on him. Wouldn't you say so, Graves?
Why not? Sure, we pulled that job, the three of us, Dimmick, Logan, and me. We decided to wait 5 years because the jewels were too hot to touch right away.
Where are they now?
Buried under the water in the tunnel of love.
But those transfers.
Yes, what about them?
Lots of things can happen in 5 years. Guy can die, get put in jail. So we decided whoever showed up with a third of the transfer from my bus would get his share.
Valentine, how did you stumble onto Graves?
Well, Lieutenant, why a third of a transfer? Why not a quarter or a half? I knew about Dimmick and Logan. That makes two. But there was still one more to account for.
I get it, and it had to be the bus driver.
That's right, Brooksy. They wouldn't leave their getaway to chance. And they were sure the bus would be right there at the exact minute.
Well, I'll be...
Almost $70,000 for a third of an old transfer. No wonder Logan was willing to go to all that trouble to get rid of Dimmick and Graves.
Well, is that enough excitement for you, Mr. Murch? Mr. Murch.
What's the matter, Brooks?
He's fainted.
Well, here we are, Mr. Murch. Feeling better?
Here's your hotel, Mr. Murch.
I don't know what you think about me fainting like that, but I really do feel like a new man. My psychoanalyst was so right.
Think you're up to playing that star role now?
Oh, yes, of course. Now that I'm convinced I'm the swaggering, masterful type at heart.
Good for you, Mr. Murch.
Oh, just one thing.
Yes?
Would you two mind coming upstairs with me?
But why?
I stayed out so much later than I promised.
Oh?
You see, Mrs. Murch is such a forceful personality.
If you're planning a motoring trip, here's something you should do to make it a safe trip. Stop in at a standard station or independent Chevron gas station before you start out and have your tires inspected. If you find they're worn smooth, have risky cuts or bruises, don't take a chance. Play safe and get a new set of grip-safe Atlas tires. The wider, skid-resisting Atlas tread gives you greater driving protection. There's more rubber to grip the road to give you quick, safe stops and absorb road shocks. With each new Atlas passenger tire, you get a full year's written warranty against damage to the tire from road hazards. No wonder Atlas is the tire known nationally for its safety, long life, and economy. Another tip, when you're on the open road, keep safe by keeping the right amount of air in each tire. And that's a job for the folks at independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear Lieutenant Riley saying,
Look, Miss Brooks, my feet hurt. Let's get back to the house.
Oh, please, Lieutenant. George and Maud have been away so long, I'm really worried. Let's take one look up here in the lemon grove.
Well, all right. Wait till I put the flashlight on.
Look, over there.
Valentine.
George.
Oh. Hello, everybody. I was just thinking of getting up anyway. Ooh. Somebody must have been staging an atomic test around here. Hey, where's Marta?
Here's your answer, Valentine. She's right over here, but no hurry. She couldn't move if she tried.
Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and Standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by David Victor and Herbert Little, Jr., and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Louis Van Ruten as Mr. Murch, Joe Duvall as Logan, Paul Frees as Dimmick, Arnie Phillips as Graves, and Dick Ryan as the manager. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter, your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don.
Hey, okay, here you go. Hello, Edward Stewart, Sweet Indigo, JLR, Connie, everybody, Andrea. What does Edward say? I've got the roof set, so the roof is going to go over here. Oh, geez, I knocked that off too. And right now, I just hooked up the lights for the chandelier, which is going to hang in the middle of the saloon and light it all up. Oh, come on. I'm having a clumsy day, people. I don't know what is going on, but it's driving me nuts. It's like, what am I doing wrong? It's one of those days. Everything's nearing the finish line, but, and I am almost done. We've got it. There's just some details and stuff like that, but let's see. I got to see let me just bring it up here so I can talk in the microphone. And I'll play another Let George Do It in a second. Edward Stewart, everyone ain't going to believe it, but around 3:45 a.m. I saw a multicolored orb drop a white, bright ball-shaped something out of it. Was the coolest thing I've ever caught like that. Outside? Are you talking outside, Edward, when you were outside looking up? I mean, in the sky? Or right in the house? I'm guessing you mean outside, right? Colored orb drop a white, bright ball-shaped something out of it. I've heard a lot of those things when it comes to UFOs. And have seen a lot of videos on that. So I think you're talking about outside and a possible UFO you've seen. That sounds awesome. But if it was inside, let me know, because if you saw that inside the house, that's a whole totally different thing. And even, yes, looking outside. Okay, I thought so. I just had to ask. I'm like, because if that was inside, that would be a totally different subject matter. And that would have been really cool too. But very cool, Edward. Jeez. Phone out, anything? We all need to. That's probably once in a lifetime too, right? Very cool, though. Very cool, Edward. So, yes, I am getting close. I've got this, and then I've got the last bag, which looks like a lot of details. Yeah, so let me just continue, because I finally got the chandelier. I dropped one, had to go get it. Everything seems to be in order, but it looks like a lot of these are going to connect to this board connector piece right here for the LEDs to light it all up. And then there's a box on the roof that you're going to cover that up with. So let me move on. Let me keep building. Let's see how far we can. Listen, I should be able to finish tonight, so that's all I know. Anyways, another Let George Do It. Let's do the spirit world. Speaking of, UFOs, whatever. I don't know. 1948. Let George Do It. The spirit world. That last episode wasn't a very good Let George Do It. I didn't care that much for that one. Let's listen to the spirit world and see if this one's any better.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and Standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It. An Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. If it's so fantastic you can do nothing about it yourself, then you've got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear Mr. Valentine, the writing and rewriting of this letter has proved one thing to me, that I can't find the words to convey my desperation. Somehow, in a way I can't explain, my life has been touched by evil. Pure, undiluted evil. There is something here too strange for me to comprehend. Something unworldly almost.
Unworldly almost. It is not only for my sake that I ask for your assistance, but for the continued sanity of my fiancé. Accept the enclosed check as a retainer, Mr. Valentine, and please call on me at once. And it's signed, Gilbert Dressler. Oh, this doesn't make sense, George.
Well, it makes enough sense to show that Gilbert Dressler is pretty panicky.
I know, George, but there's something too strange to comprehend. Unworldly. Sounds like he's having trouble with banshees.
Well, whatever his source of trouble, it's our source of income, Brooksy.
But how do people let themselves get into this kind of situation?
This kind of situation pays the rent. So let's go find out what's on Gilbert Dressler's unhappy mind.
In my 10 years on the desert, Mr. Valentine, I've witnessed events that would freeze the very marrow in your bones.
Yes, I'm not doubting your word, Mr. Dressler,
Terrifying events. Things that are only spoken about in whispers, behind locked doors.
Yes, but let's be a little more specific.
Magic. Voodoo, if you will. An evil beyond evil. They're right here in your own city.
But why are you hiring us?
Yes, Mr. Dressler. You mentioned something about a fiancée in your letter. What about her?
Yes, Gabrielle. I love her.
Oh, we're sure of that, Mr. Dressler, but you also wrote something about fearing for her continued sanity. What makes you think her sanity won't continue?
Margot.
Margot? What's that supposed to mean to me?
Oh, forgive me. I was referring to Madame Margot. She claims she's a medium. I claim she's a purveyor of black magic.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. You're trying to tell us Gabrielle, your fiancée, is somehow being influenced by this Madame Margot.
Yes.
How?
Why, she's taking all her money away from her.
Oh, how long has this been going on?
Since Gabrielle's mother, Mrs. Turner, died.
Oh, what happened?
Maddie Turner was cleaning her hunting rifle, and it went off. Very unfortunate. The sporting world lost a great devotee because of Mrs. Turner's accident.
All right, what do you want us to do?
Expose Madame Margot. That's what I want you to do.
Expose her?
Certainly. I've arranged for you to visit Madame Margot this very afternoon. Here, this is her card. And tonight, you shall attend a séance at the Turner Mansion.
A séance? Oh, George, there's nothing I like better than an evening cavorting with the spirit world.
Me too.
Okay, Brooksy, we'll give it a whirl. I never saw a ghost yet who didn't scream when it was pinched.
There's Madame Margot's place, George, 214.
Yep, I'll pull up in front.
Well, one thing I'll say for her, George. She's not squeamish about operating in a tough neighborhood.
Uh-huh. Well, looks all very proper, Brooksy. Even to the neat little sign on the window. Madame Margot, clairvoyant and mentalist. Seances by appointment. Okay, let's go.
Well, ring the bell, George.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Oh, great. Listen to that local color, will you?
In a joint like this, I'll settle for nothing less than a swami.
Yeah.
You have been expected. Please enter, Sahib.
Sahib?
This way, if you please. Madame Margot offers herself to meditation. However, she will receive you shortly.
Straighten your turban, George. Do you mind if we sit down, Mr.
Hasim. Upon this level, that is the name by which I am known. Please be seated.
Yes, thanks.
And now Hasim will leave you. Seek to attune yourself to the vibration of the sphere.
Oh, sure, we'll do just that, Hasim.
Well, there's your Swami, George. Wonder what bottle he floated out of.
I'll bet when that towel around his head is unwrapped, it reads Oasis Motel.
Hey, this Madame Margot must do all right. Look at the jade vases. Carved teeth. Look at this rug.
Oh, Brooksy, for a candy bar in North Africa during the war, I could have filled a barracks bag with this junk.
Junk? Why, some of these things are priceless,
Bargain
George.
basement gadgets, Brooksy, part of a pitch.
Well, I don't want to argue with you, but
Look, Claire, I haven't heard of a setup like this yet that wasn't phony. A shrewd operator in a bathrobe and a crystal ball can make a fortune feeding customers the things they want to hear.
Yes, but this Madame Margot is supposed to be uncanny.
There.
Anyway, that's what Mr. Dressler seems to think.
Well, I don't know what her act is, Brooksy, but I'm making book that Margot's got a huge investment in trapdoors and mirrors. And one of these days, she's going to trip over her own ectoplasm.
George.
Huh? Oh.
I know, of course, that Mr. Gilbert Dressler sent you to me. He gave no reason for the arrangement except that you were his friend.
Oh, well, Mr. Dressler just likes to be mysterious. I understand that 10 years on the desert can do that to a person.
He is obsessed with the idea that I bring harm to Gabrielle Turner. He is a stupid man.
Yeah. Well, what about this crystal ball here? What can it tell you about me?
Very well. Seek yourself in the past and the future. Margot will seek with you. Believe Margot, and the dimness in the crystal will be swept away and will become as a sudden burst of light, revealing all. See? Even now the shadow's clear. The image asserts itself. There has been violence and terror in your life.
Well, I can't see you wrong about that.
As if many men had come together to do you harm, in a vastness too great for the eye to scan.
A vastness?
In a desert, perhaps. Many men and many machines. Yes, it is a desert. And you are wearing a uniform.
George, that's amazing.
Yeah. Can you tell me where this desert is? In what country?
Oh, it is plain. Should it startle you that I know? To Margot, the crystal has no secrets. It is the Sahara.
Oh. North Africa, huh?
Of course, Mr. Valentine. What made you ask that?
Oh, come off it, kiddo. How gullible do you expect one man to be?
What are you talking about, Mr. Valentine?
Madame Margot, if you get paid for this sort of thing, I'm going out and rent a sarong and a Turkish towel. That's all I need for an easy life. That and a detective phone with a hidden mic.
Get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. I've got a couple of other things that I would...
Get out of here. Hassim.
Oh, why don't you let that poor guy alone, Margot? Making him stand behind those drapes all this time?
Perhaps one day you will laugh yourself to death on your poor humor, Mr. Valentine.
George, he's got a gun.
Don't worry, Brooksy. Madame Margot can't afford to get rough. This kind of melodrama sometimes leads to scandal. That wouldn't be good business for her.
He wearies me with his glibness, Hassim.
You should have kept looking in your crystal ball, Margot. Then you could have warned your number one boy. Always keep that gun close to his side.
You fool.
Let's get out of here, Brooksy.
Okay, George.
You will regret this.
Oh, look, honey, don't go dramatic on me. Save those pear-shaped tones for Gabrielle Turner.
I don't understand, George. How did she know you were in North Africa?
Because she had us tuned in with her little detector phone before she came into the room.
Oh.
Brooksy, when I was telling you about it, I lied to you purposely. I saw North Africa once from an airplane, 10,000 feet up at nighttime.
Well, now that we know that Margot reads past, presents, and futures by direct wire, what are we going to do?
Have dinner, Brooksy.
Oh, fine.
And we've got a date with a few assorted ghosts.
Oh, fine.
But how about the rest of these people here, Mr. Dressler? Are they friends of the family, too?
A cult of vultures, Mr. Valentine. Parasites of the late Mattie Turner, whose interest in spiritualism is heightened by the free champagne served before every seance. Oh, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, my dear. This is Mr. Valentine. And Miss Brooks.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I suppose you're welcome here, both of you. Even though you've come to sneer at us.
Oh, I wouldn't put it that way, Gabrielle. We're just here to take a look.
There have been scoffers before. Please understand that you've been invited only because Gilbert insisted upon it.
Gabrielle? Oh, there you are. Have you explained to Gilbert's guests how stupid they are?
Hey, where'd you get all your information, lady?
I am Gabrielle's aunt, young lady, Vida Patterson.
Oh.
I happen to concern myself with the caliber of people with whom Gabrielle is forced to associate.
What makes you think Miss Brooks is a bad influence, Miss Patterson?
Oh, Gabrielle is emotionally high-strung. People like you, people from the outside, upset her.
Ah, from the outside.
My dear, the rest of the party is going into the sanctuary. Madame Margot is waiting.
Oh, George, not again.
Yep. Let's give the old gal another rumble.
George. The hair on the back of my neck is going to look funny with my permanent. This thing is scary.
Yeah, with all the trimmings. This sanctuary is a great backdrop for Dracula. Candlelight and polka music for a vampire.
Have the courtesy to be quiet.
I like this episode.
Nothing must disturb Madame Margot while she reaches her control.
Control? What's that?
A voice, Miss Brooks. Margot's link with the spirit world. You'll see, it's very weird. The voice with which Margot speaks will not be her voice at all.
Oh, Gilbert, why did you bring these people here?
Hush, child, hush.
There are alien presences here. Contact has been difficult, but there is a message to one who has traveled from a far place to be here.
George.
Listen. Listen.
So many years. So much time. Gilbert. Listen to me, Gilbert.
It's Janice. This is impossible.
Please listen to me, Gilbert.
Janice, what are you doing here? I thought you ran off to Cairo with Cecil.
Rid yourself of those who would bring harm to Margot. They are evil. Remember, Gilbert, I've always known what's best for you, my dear.
You haven't changed a bit, have you, Janice? Always showing up at the wrong time and knowing what's best. Janice, go away.
Get rid of them. Get rid of those who do us harm.
You never told me about her, Gilbert. You never mentioned a girl named Janice.
She was always interfering. Always. I hardly expected her to pop up again, my dear.
There is another message here from one who has newly passed over. She is suffering greatly.
Oh, no.
She has been murdered, shot. She suffers from the anguish of knowing her murder.
Oh, no. I couldn't help it. I couldn't.
Gabriel, what is it, child?
Her murderer has not been avenged. There is blood on the hands of one who has shed it. Listen. She is trying...
Stop it! Make her leave me alone. I killed her. Of course I killed her. Leave me alone, all of you. Oh, George. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah, this time, Brooksy, the spirits have the right word for it. Murder.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about problems, major and minor. You know, a ring that refuses to come off a finger may seem like a major problem, but usually a bit of soap and water does the trick. Stuck rings in an automobile engine would be something else again, and could be very costly, in fact. But today, compounded RPM motor oil keeps the danger of stuck piston rings at just about zero. Even more important, the added compounds in RPM put a stop to the biggest bugaboo of engine wear, internal rust. They also prevent crankcase foaming and stop the formation of gum and lacquer in your car's engine. And a cleaner engine system means extra life for your car. Add up all these advantages of RPM motor oil, and it's easy to see why motorists choose RPM 2-to-1 over any other motor oil in the West. Try this premium quality motor oil tomorrow. Get RPM at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. Well, there's an old saying that murder will out, but when it comes pointing its finger from the spirit world, then George finds himself tangled in one of the strangest cases he's ever come across. And at the precinct
lights
house,
are taking
the day
the
after
longest
seance,
part.
Lieutenant Riley puts it this way.
Valentine, ever since I heard that girl confess to murder while she was talking to a ghost, I've just been breathless waiting for you to drop around.
Yeah, it's a weirdie, isn't it, Lieutenant?
Well, maybe your boys just didn't feel like being clever the day Mrs. Turner was murdered. Is that why you called it a hunting accident?
Now, look, Miss Brooks, I'm not perfect like your boyfriend Valentine.
And I'd be the first one to admit that. But as a matter of fact, I personally contribute to the support of you guys, a little thing called taxes. I'm just perfect enough to want a little action for my money.
Valentine, 3 months ago, we were called in by Vida Patterson to investigate the death of her sister, Mattie Turner. We called it an accident because that's the way the setup looked. Because there wasn't any reason to call it murder.
Well, whatever happened to that suspicious nature of yours, Lieutenant?
Yeah. A prominent society woman is found dead, shot. A woman who surrounds herself with a house full of sponging friends. Don't you remember what your correspondence course says about a situation like that, Lieutenant?
Look. When a person is found dead with her finger on the trigger, we consider the reports of ballistics, medical examiner, and a dozen other experts. Then we fumbling police arrive at certain conclusions. In the death of Mrs. Turner, that conclusion was accidental death.
Here.
Bravo, Lieutenant. But how could so many people fumble about the same thing?
Yeah.
Does that confession mean that Gabrielle is going to stand trial for murder, Lieutenant?
Well, I doubt it. In that household of crazy people, she's the squirreliest of the lot. Unless her Aunt Mrs. Patterson isn't just a little bit ahead of her.
Then Gabrielle will be committed to an institution.
Yep. She's home now under the care of a physician and under police guard. She can't even remember confessing, much less how or why she killed anybody.
Uh-huh. You wouldn't mind if Claire and I dropped in on the Turner family, would you, Lieutenant?
Well, sure. Go ahead. You'll be in good company. But take my advice and hide when the wagon comes. Those young interns sometimes have trouble figuring who fits the straitjacket.
Lieutenant, I secretly love all men who say nice things like that.
Oh, it's you two. I was beginning to hope that I'd only hired you in a dream.
Look, Gilbert, let's both get real grown up and face facts. You really did hire me, and we're both stuck.
I'm not in the habit of paying people who bungle their jobs. It must be quite obvious that I don't need your alleged services any longer.
But we haven't finished our job, Mr. Dressler.
So if you will return my fee, which you have not earned...
Oh, yeah. Well, let's chat, Gilbert. Mind if we come inside?
I certainly do.
Thanks a lot. Close the door, Brooksy. Now, look, Gilbert, you hired me to do a job. I'm not backing out of it. Why should you?
You admit you failed, don't you?
You don't have much room to talk, Mr. Dressler. Who was that Janice you were talking to last night?
Janice is dead. She died nearly 10 years ago.
10 years? Then how did she
I dislike to say it, but even I am now convinced that Margot is not a fraud. How could she have known about Janice?
Oh, it's very simple. You blurted out Janice's name as soon as Margot began to broaden her age.
Yeah, it's a good thing Margot didn't drop her H's, Mr. Dressler. You might have come up with the name of some little barmaid in Soho.
You're not very amusing, young lady.
Now, what about Gabrielle? Where is she?
They've taken her away, Mr. Valentine. Poor girl. I was deeply attached to her.
Uh-huh. I'll bet her aunt is overcome, too.
Vida Patterson is a remarkable woman. She buries her sorrow in her books.
Books. Ledgers would be a better word. Where is she?
In the library. She explicitly informed me that she wishes to grieve.
Well, now, that's very touching. Come on, Claire.
What is it, Gilbert? I told you I wanted no interruptions unless it's absolutely necessary.
It's absolutely necessary.
Oh, it's the intruders again.
Yes, I hate to take you away from your tears, Miss Patterson, but there are a few questions I want to ask you.
And by what right? You're not the police?
Oh, this won't take long. Just a moment of your lonely time, and you can go right back to eating your heart out.
What is it you want?
I want to know a little bit more about the murder of Mattie Turner. It was murder, wasn't it?
Oh, imagine the ingratitude of this child. Killing my poor sister after all the wonderful things we've done for her.
Oh, yes. She was so overcome by those wonderful things, she can't even remember killing your sister.
Oh, Gabrielle has lapses of memory. An unfortunate trait which she inherited from her father's side of the family.
Oh, well, this wealth you were talking about, what happens to that?
Oh, how can you mention money at a time like this?
Well, let's mention it anyhow. Who gets it?
Well, of course, Gabrielle inherited the mother's estate, and now that she will be declared insane, why, I suppose well, I don't know. I've never given it a thought.
No, I'll just bet you haven't. Well, thanks a lot, Miss Patterson. I just know it'll kill you every time you spend a penny of all those thousands of dollars.
Get out of here.
Miss Patterson doesn't like us, George.
Yeah, we've got crazy ideas, Brooksy. All right, come on. Let's go see whether one of them will pay off.
What makes people like that, George?
If you're talking about the zanies who wander in and out of the Turner mansion, the answer is money. From here, that's the only way the rag makes
The
sense.
lights are on. Look at
I'm
it.
going to crowd you with funnies, George, but there's Hasim again.
Huh?
Very
Yeah,
cool.
he's planted up ahead there. The corner of the house this time.
How do you like that?
See him in the shadow?
Yeah.
The chandeliers. Yeah, I'll get a real close up of that when I
Still looks sinister.
after
even
I'm
in the
done. I still
pinstripe
got
suit.
stuff to put together.
Well, Hasim, Doing a little snooping on your own?
You go to great lengths to involve yourself in difficulty, my rash friend.
Brace yourself, Hasim. You're no friend of mine.
Furthermore, you are in our way.
Georgie's still got that gun.
Watch it, Brooksy. I pick up the gun quick.
Here, George. Here you are.
Yeah, you shouldn't carry such things around after dark, Hasim. And so it doesn't accidentally go off and hurt somebody, I'll just take out the clip. And the extra bullet in the chamber.
You will be sorry you did this.
There you are. Take your plaything. I'll keep the bullets. Now, why did Madame Margot send you here?
I know nothing.
You're so right.
Let there be lights.
Take off, Nature Boy. Beat it. I'm tired of playing patty cake with people out of storybooks. You know what? It adds up, Claire. It really does.
It does?
Huh? Brooksy, I want you to get down to headquarters as soon as possible. Tell Lieutenant Riley to get that whole crew together, all those pixies who were at the seance last night.
Including the spirits, George?
Including Gabrielle Turner. Tell the lieutenant to bring them all back to the sanctuary.
But why?
If there really was a murder, Brooksy, I won't be able to live with myself until I find out the reason for it. Right now, I've got a date with a crystal ball. And maybe I'll get a preview. Margot, in the jargon of the street, your chances aren't worth a dime.
Stop speaking in riddles, Mr. Valentine. What's on your mind?
You are, Margot. Madam Accessory after the fact, Margot. The fact being murder.
If I were acquainted with your brand of humor, perhaps I would be amused.
I doubt it. Look, you're worried, honey. That's why you tagged that small-time Svengali on me. You can be sent to jail for years and years, and that's really something to worry about.
What are you trying to say?
Well, I hate to sully those shell-like ears of yours with nasty words, Margot, but just take my advice and be my buddy for the next few hours.
Why do you speak to me like this? As if I'm
As if you're a phony, and you are. You can throw your voice pretty well, but last night you threw it a little too far.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to finish that seance you started. It never did get done.
But for what reason?
So you can turn state's evidence. Now, a clever girl like you can appreciate a good twist.
I think I understand.
Yes, I think you do. So let's not keep the cult waiting, Margot. Besides, Lieutenant Riley is a very impatient man.
Valentine, if you can figure out how this girl murdered Mattie Turner by asking Mattie Turner how she did it, I'm going to turn in my badge, buy a turban and a crystal ball, and apprehend criminals while I sit in my easy chair.
Just stick around, Lieutenant. This Margot will give you a lesson you'll never forget.
You know, that's the wonderful thing about being a police lieutenant. Every amateur I meet wants to give me lessons.
But Margot's no amateur. All these people think she's the greatest thing that ever happened to them. They believe whatever Margot says.
Valentine, haven't you been the cause of enough suffering for poor Miss Patterson? I feel it is my obligation to defend her against your ill manners.
Yes, and I demand to know by what authority you have entered my house. Why have you brought Gabrielle here? I'll have the law.
You already have it. Lieutenant, this is Miss Patterson. She lives here.
You got troubles, Miss Patterson?
Oh, why, no, it's just that it's Gabrielle.
Gabrielle's okay. She's in the sanctuary with the doctor. I wouldn't worry about her.
Maybe we'd better go in. Margot's had plenty of time to get wound up.
Okay.
Hello, Gabrielle. How do you feel?
I don't understand. This all happened before. Long ago. A very long time ago.
Yes, now you're all right. Just take it easy.
I really didn't mean to. I didn't hate my mother, you know.
Just sit tight, Gabrielle. And whatever happens, don't say anything. You understand? Don't say anything.
Of course. Of course, I understand. I killed her, but I didn't mean to. Tonight, for the last time, we seek to journey together into a strange land. A strange land.
Good to see you, Amor.
Where faces and forgotten dreams dwell without perishing. Already the vapors which cloud our way are cleared. There is someone here who is trying to get through. She wishes to speak.
Is this why you dragged me here, Valentine? I know a ventriloquist when I hear one.
You know a lot more than the rest of these people. Just get this pitch, Lieutenant.
Has been grievously wronged. There is so much that stands in her way of happiness here. She wishes to speak to us. She says an injustice has been done. The way is clear. Peace.
Stop her.
Peace.
Can't you see this is a fraud? You don't know what you're doing. Send her back.
Listen.
You're breaking up the party, Miss Patterson. Why don't you relax?
Have they harmed you, Gabrielle?
Maddie.
And you, Vida. All that blood.
Oh.
Your sister's blood. Mine. Murderous.
Oh, stop it! Stop it, please, please!
Murderous. You watch me die. Death becomes you, my sister.
Oh, send her back! Oh, let's stop it! I killed her! I killed her!
I'll take over from here, Valentine.
Well, how about that, Brooksy? A killer trapped by a ghost. Only there wasn't any ghost.
George, if I've got to say it, and I've got to say it,
Huh?
you're a genius.
Oh, that's okay, Brooksy. You can say it. But all I had to know was that Margot was a phony, and Vida Patterson thought Margot was always on the level. Except once, that is.
Astound me, genius. What do you mean, except one?
Vida paid Margot to produce Maddie Turner and frighten Gabrielle into confessing.
Why should Gabrielle confess to a murder she didn't do?
Brooksy, there's a lot of evil people in this world. Vida Patterson is one of them. She knew her niece had a memory blank the night of the murder. So all this time, she's been making Gabrielle believe that she killed her own mother.
So all you did was make Margot produce Maddie Turner again.
Yep. Only this time, Maddie smoked. When Vida heard an imitation of her sister's voice, she thought it was the real thing. It was too much for her.
Oh, well, there's just one thing I still don't understand, George. What happened when you went back to see Margot?
Oh, she read my palm. Yeah, she said I had a wonderful heart line.
Oh?
Uh-huh. Margot looked at my hand and said I was a lover.
Oh. Well, I got a pretty good heart line myself.
Yeah?
Look at it, George.
Yeah.
You know what I think, George?
No, tell me what you think.
Well, I think we ought to get our heart lines crossed and see what happens.
And now, a word of importance to motorists. Maybe you've run into the kind of motorist who always says, grease is grease, and it doesn't matter where you take your car for lubrication service. Well, don't you believe him. At independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations, they use many specialized grades of RPM greases and oils to give your car a thorough lubrication. And each one is tailor-made to do a wear-saving job at some vital wear point on your car. The regular 1,000-mile grease job at these stations is done by trained experts. They follow a lube chart approved by the manufacturer of your car, and they take pride in doing a spick-and-span clean job for you. Next time your car is due for lubrication service, rely on the standard station or the independent Chevron gas station, where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear...
Hey, Brooksy, tell me something.
Yes, George?
How would you like to play Cigarette Girl at the Kit Kat Club tomorrow night?
You mean in one of those fluffy short skirts and long black stockings?
Yeah, the works.
Yeah, but what are you talking about, George?
We're going to stage a little drama, Brooksy, with a cast of two. A Carnation and Art Gary. And I have a hunch the Carnation will be the star of the show.
Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by Morton Fine and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Don Morrison as Gilbert, Irene Tedrow as Margot, Sarah Selby as Vida, Gene Bates as Gabrielle, and Lalchan Mehra as Hasim. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Okay, the Spirit World. That was a way better Let George Do It than the prior one. I'll play another one in a second, but I love the lights. The front porch is lit up. You can see through the saloon. The front walkway, the windows on the upstairs. I opened this up so that you can kind of see it. I don't know if I could raise this because what I got here is a power bank that has 3 USBs in there, and I could technically hook up 3 different FunWhole sets to stay lit up, depending on how many. But yeah, it's lit up now. It looks fantastic. I can't wait to do a more in-depth and show a little bit more on there. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool, man. An evening of old time radio. Let George do a great show. Yes, it is. The one I just, let's see, which one's kind of sucked. Have Some Excitement from 1948. That was not a good episode. But the Spirit World we just listened to was a pretty good episode. But as you can see, all the lights are hooked up. The chandelier on the inside shines it all through. I know it's hard to see right now because I don't think I can... Oh, can I hold this up without anything falling apart? I don't want nothing to happen. But let's see if I can do this. Okay, so let's see. Can I do this? Can you guys see that lit up inside there? That is the saloon. You can see the... I hope I can. I don't want nothing to happen. Hold on. Let me bring up the video myself and do it as best I can. Okay, yeah, there you go. Well, that's kind of bright. There's the saloon lights. Okay, there we go. I'm getting it. There's the entire inside. See the lights there in the back by the bar? The second floor all lit up. The chandelier looks fantastic. You can see the piano all there. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go because I don't want nothing to disconnect or anything like that. But yeah, that's it. The light up part of it. I'm just doing finishing touches and stuff like that. Looks pretty cool, man. I love it. Fabulous. Yeah. Love the lights. The lights add a whole different feel to it. I mean, imagine all the lights off listening to some old-time radio shows and you got a city kind of lit up with the lights. That's what I always wanted, but the Lego City-O is just a little too hard. Damn, looks like our OTR room. It does, Edward, right? The Old West saloon there. But anyways, I'll keep it lit up while I continue to build. I'm almost done. Finish this up, and then I've got one more set of bags, which look like just very little ones, like decorative, like I think on the outside, like some foliage and cactus and stuff like that. So it's looking good. It's even got a water barrel up on the roof, which is kind of cool, kind of hides some of the wires. I'm going to do some things myself up here to hide some of these wires. I'm actually going to, I think, because I've learned a lot building these Legos and stuff, I'm going to put maybe some weeds up there, like little weeds to cover up what the wires that are showing, just so top Western, saloon, it's going to have some weeds up there. So I will cover this up too, and I will show a video on that when I do a full review. Yes, it does, except for the cat. You can't get a cat in there, really. But anyways, yeah, let's, while I'm finishing up, let's do another, Let George Do It. Let's do, man, the Spirit World was really a good one. I really like that one. Let's do The Wolf Pack from 1948. Let George Do It, The Wolf Pack. As I finish up these bags, put the finishing touches on everything, and here we go, The Wolf Pack.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It.
Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. Danger is my stock and trade. If you're up against something you can't handle and it has to be kept strictly confidential, you've got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear Mr. Valentine,
The day after tomorrow, a boy 16 is getting out of a work camp after a year. Instead of trying to get a new start, he swears he's going to do something that'll take him right back there again, or even worse. You've got to help him. You've got to save him from himself. I don't have much money. I'm only 16, too.
Only 16, too. But I'll work the rest of my life paying you if you'll do everything you can to help Eddie. I'll be waiting for you tomorrow morning at 7 in front of the Lincoln statue in Chelsea Square Park. It's just signed Emily, George.
Yeah. Chelsea Square Park, huh? Brooksy, that's right in the middle of that slum jungle where those so-called wolf packs have been running wild.
Yes, and kids just about this age.
Always good for an editorial. Young hoodlums, a challenge to society. Well, that's where it usually ends. Brooksy, looks like we're going to be on the job early tomorrow morning.
George, wait a minute.
What is it, Brooksy?
Over there, sitting under the statue of Lincoln. There, feeding the pigeons.
Oh, yeah. Looks like our girl, all right. Come on, Angel. Let's see how unlike an editorial we can be when we talk to her.
Now, that's all the crumbs I have. No use hanging around. Go on, scoop, go on.
Emily?
Yes? Oh, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh, I didn't really believe you'd come, and I...
Hello,
well,
Emily.
This is Miss Brooks. We work together.
How do you do?
Hello, Miss Brooks. If things weren't so terrible for Eddie, I'd feel pretty silly. I don't have anything in the world, and there's no reason for you to help me.
Well, let's just say you write a darn good letter.
Now, what about Eddie, Emily?
He's a boy I know. He gets out tomorrow.
Why was he sent away?
The police found him in a stolen car.
I see.
But he didn't steal it. He thought he was delivering the car to a second-hand dealer for somebody, just to make a little extra money.
Well, didn't he tell that to the police?
No. He just kept insisting over and over that he didn't steal it. He wouldn't even tell me who got him into that trouble. But he says that since everybody is so sure he's no good, he's going to prove they're right. You know what that means.
Oh, now, Emily.
Well, I know Eddie. He's lost his temper a lot of times, and he got into scrapes, but, well, he's not bad. Not really.
Emily, you're pretty sure of that, aren't you?
I suppose when you believe in somebody, you just do, that's all.
All right. Now let's see what we can do.
He has no place to go, Mr. Valentine.
What do you mean?
He only has his father, and Eddie was supporting Mr. Prokosh, selling papers.
Yes?
Well, when Eddie was arrested, Mr. Prokosh told him he never wanted to see him again. And Eddie's very proud. He'd never go back home now.
Well, people change a lot in a year.
Do they? My mother and father haven't. They still think Eddie's no good. And even now, when I went to help him, I have to meet you in the park before I go to school.
All right, Emily, suppose you leave Eddie to me.
I'm going to secretarial school now, and in another year I'll start working. And if you don't mind waiting, I could...
suppose you leave that to Mr. Valentine, too.
Then you mean you'll do everything you can?
That and a little more, Emily. Now, suppose we go and have some breakfast so you can tell me all about Eddie. Then I'm going to have a talk with his father.
Thought I dropped something. Got to go under the table for that.
I don't care who you are. I want to hear nothing about my son. I got no son. Now get out of my house.
Now, just take it easy, Mr. Prokosh.
Look at me, mister. You see this crippled leg? I got that making honest living. Honest living.
I know. That's dreadful, Mr. Prokosh. But there's still Eddie to think about.
I get few pennies from the company every month. I even bite my tongue and take charity from the Morrissey Association. But better I should hate myself than take one dirty penny my son steals. I don't need it.
But maybe your son needs you.
I told you, lady, I got no son.
The ending here has been it's
let's
been
just
a little
boy,
aggravating.
16, a boy in trouble and
it's
headed for
supposed
more.
to be therapeutic, but
not everybody's sold off in the
just
way
one of
you
those
are.
days,
His
people.
own father.
You know, Mr. Prokosh, you can worry so much about being right that you can be wrong.
Right? Such fancy talk I don't understand.
Hey, Prokosh, I want... Oh. So you get company, huh?
What you want in my house?
Tell these characters a blow. There's something I want you to tell me.
Just who is this imitation Bogart?
His name is Dan Lucas. He's the worst hoodlum of them all.
Look, Pop, Eddie's time's about up. When's he getting out? I gotta know.
I tell you nothing.
You heard me. I gotta know. And you're gonna tell me.
You what? Let go. That flashy tie you're wearing. You don't knot it half tight enough, so I'm gonna help you. And it's not good manners for a tough guy like you to be pushing helpless people around.
Stop it, will you?
Now, you see what I mean, Stanley?
George, look out!
I'll take that.
See the kind knife he carries?
Yeah. Not the kind you peel potatoes with. Why, I ought to...
George, let go of him.
I just got one thing to say to you, mister. Stay out of this neighborhood after dark if you want to live.
Which way do you want to go downstairs, on your head or on your feet?
I ain't through with you. You need a Prokash.
Beat it. Take that collapsible stiletto with you. Let's hope the cops find it on you. Still have nothing to say to us about Eddie, Mr. Prokash?
Nothing. You see the kind friends he has? I would rather die than...
know.
All right, let's go, Brooksy. There's one more place I'd like to stop before we meet Eddie tomorrow.
What do I know about Eddie Prokash? Just about everything, Mr. Valentine.
Good. That's why we dropped in to see you, Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Prokash says you and the Chelsea Square Association have been helping him out every month.
Well, Miss Brooks, we're sort of a political club, as you know. But we believe in really taking care of our own down here.
So I understand.
Naturally, we hope to win votes. But in a tough neighborhood like Chelsea Square, there are other things that are more important.
Giving out turkeys come Thanksgiving and arranging a boat ride in the summer just aren't enough.
Oh, we do much more than that. We cooperate with the police. Even get to the judge when one of our boys gets into trouble. We've been talking about putting up a playground, too.
Well, I could get the bare facts of what happened at juvenile court. But I thought a man like you, whose business it is to know what's going on...
Hey there,
tell us more
Glitter.
than that.
We understand Eddie
been a
didn't
while.
try to defend himself on that stolen car charge.
Yeah, I know. But I'm afraid there was very little he could say. He was caught red-handed. Very unfortunate case. But I'm afraid not at all unusual.
Say, tell me, Morrissey, why would a young hooligan like Stan Lucas be interested in knowing when Eddie gets out from the work camp?
Lucas? Oh, that one. There's really a neighborhood problem.
I can imagine.
But Stan's almost a man now. I don't see what he could have had to do with Eddie Prokash.
Apparently he had a lot to do with him, Morrissey. But it looks as though we won't get the real picture of Eddie till we talk to the boy himself.
Hey, how about a lift, mister, huh? Hey, you going into town? How about a...
Why knock yourself out, kid? I'm going back to town. I'll give you a lift.
What? Oh, I didn't see you parked under that tree.
Hop in, Eddie.
Okay, thanks. What? How did you know my name?
I've been waiting for you, kid. But we'll go into all that later.
I don't listen to Emily. She's just a crazy kid.
And I suppose you're a brainy old man.
Yeah, well, I know what I'm doing. And you can let me off at the next cross and I can get a bus, you know.
No, just keep your shirt on, Eddie.
That kid gets crazy ideas. I know what I'm doing. I don't need anybody's
These
help.
kids, right?
Okay, so you're on your own. Well, let's set it up this way. Look, I live by myself. What do you say we go home and have some chow? You might decide to bunk over with me until you know what you want to do.
I know what I want to do. Hey, mister,
Hopefully everybody's
sure
subscribed in the
cop?
chat. Please
Well,
do
some
if
of
you
them are my best
haven't
friends,
already.
Eddie, but I don't happen to be
Appreciate it. Thumbs up.
No,
and
just
all
like
that
I
good
said.
stuff.
I had a little talk with Emily while she was feeding the pigeons in the park.
You mean Emily still sits by that statue and... Well, okay, I guess there's no reason why I shouldn't eat your food.
Thanks, Eddie.
There's only one thing a woman likes better than to see a man clean up that last drop of gravy on his plate.
Oh, what's that, Brooksy?
Two men doing the same thing.
Yeah, I sure packed away a lot, didn't I?
That's why I was here, Eddie. Go on, rave some more about my cooking to Mr. Valentine. It may help. See you in the office in the morning, George. Glad to met you, Eddie.
Yeah, me too, Miss Brooks.
Well, thanks, Angel, for being chief cook and bottle washer.
Where do you see those dirty dishes in the sink? Good night, George.
Oh, Mr. Valentine.
Yeah, Eddie?
Thanks a lot for the meal, but I gotta get going now.
No, Eddie, no. You're going to stay right here tonight.
Now, look, I said it.
You're stewing about something. You can't wait to get it out of your system without thinking of the trouble it's going to cause everybody, including yourself.
Will you stop preaching at me? You got no right just because you give me a meal. I'm getting out of here.
Not tonight, you're not. Now, look, kid, give yourself a chance to sleep on it. You may feel differently in the morning.
I'm leaving by that door, so get out of my way. Now, I don't want to have to get tough with you, but...
Yes?
Okay, you asked for it. Sorry, Eddie. No.
Asked for it, too.
Oh, what happened?
Just a little judo trick I had to learn once.
Oh.
Yeah, it came in pretty handy at Salerno.
Hey, you mean you were in that fight in Salerno?
That's right. And the guy coming at you wasn't supposed to land on a nice, soft couch like you just did.
Oh.
Well, Eddie, there's no reason why we shouldn't settle down and listen to the fights now. Oh, yes.
What?
When you do go to bed, just remember, I'm a very light sleeper.
So?
So, don't get any fancy ideas about running out on me. Okay, Eddie, time to get up. Hey, Eddie, did you hear me? Rise and shine. Oh, that kid. Say, Eddie, if you want to try my new electric razor, you can... Why, that little... Now, where... Oh, great. Well, he did leave me a note. That's something. I wasn't asleep like you thought when you went in to take your shower. I even washed the dishes to pay for my room and board. Now, you and Miss Brooks and Emily better stay away from me. You were so anxious to know what I was going to do. Now I can tell you. I'm going to take care of Stan Lucas.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about wear and tear. Most motorists believe, and quite naturally, that automobile engines wear out faster when they're running. But that's not true. Your car faces its biggest danger when it's standing cold. For that's when rust, caused by condensed moisture inside cylinders, starts to work. And that's where RPM motor oil can help you avoid a repair bill. RPM's special compounds keep a rust-proof oil film on all engine parts all the time. Whether your car is running hot or standing cold, RPM clings stubbornly to vital wear points.
It was pretty funny.
Consequently, rust never has a chance to get started in your car. No wonder it's the 2-to-1 choice of Western motorists. Next time you need oil, ask for rust-fighting RPM motor oil at any standard station or independent Chevron gas station. While you're there, ask for a free copy of Batter Up. It's a wonderful handbook on baseball, a gift to you from independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine and to Chelsea Square, a jungle of tenements in the middle of the city and a wolf pack of boys stalking the streets. That's the background for George's present job. The specific challenge to keep 16-year-old Eddie Prokosh from committing a serious crime as he promised.
Saloon.
Good morning, George.
Huh?
Hey, you only shaved on one side of your face this morning.
Okay, so that's the side you can kiss me on. But look, we're in trouble, Angel.
What?
Yeah, playing Big Brother a la Spencer Tracy didn't work out. Eddie beat it while I was shaving.
All right, darling, take it easy.
He left this little note. He's out on the prowl. To quote, he's going after Stan Lucas.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I've got to stop him somehow, Brooksy. If I only knew where to find him down there in that Chelsea district. What pool hall, what dark alley, what hallway.
And stand with that knife. What can we do, George?
Well, I'm going to have another talk with Eddie's father. Look, you find Emily.
But where?
Well, she gave us the name of the secretarial school. Call her. Get her to meet you in the park. Maybe she can give us a clue on how we can find Eddie.
Okay, George.
And remember, Brooksy, it's a race against time.
Eddie can't do that. He mustn't.
Emily, stop crying.
Yes, Miss Brooks.
Emily, I'm not going to talk to you like a child. If you're old enough to fall in love with a boy, this is no time to let him down.
I know.
You came to us for help. Now we need yours. Can you tell us some of the places where Eddie might be looking for Stan Lucas?
It could be anywhere, but
Yes, dear.
I should have told you this before, but I couldn't. I mean about Stan.
Stan? Did he have anything to do with that stolen car business?
I'm not sure, but that's not what I meant.
What did you mean?
Miss Brooks, you said you weren't going to talk to me like a child. Well, I'm not going to talk to you like I was one either. All this year, Eddie was up in that work
Very
camp.
mature.
I've been going around with Stan.
Oh.
But I had to. Everybody does what Stan tells them to. I wasn't afraid just for myself, but what he said he'd do to Eddie when he came out.
Does Eddie know that?
No, you know how men are. And I wouldn't want him to know.
Oh, you poor kid.
Well, what could I do, Miss Brooks? Stan said he could even stop the few dollars Mr. Prokosh gets from the association. And he needs that money to live on.
Stan was just talking. But you don't have to worry about him anymore. Mr. Valentine knows how to take care of him.
I'm only thinking of Eddie. If I could only talk to him. I've got to find him.
Wait, Emily, I'll go with you. We'll both look for him.
All I want to know, Mr. Prokosh, is whether Eddie's been here or not.
He knows better than to come here.
Oh, yeah. And I suppose that makes you a great father. Hey, look, Eddie's wandering around. A few words well chosen might save his whole life. And all he gets is a door slammed in his face.
I got nothing more to say, Mr. Valentine.
Well, I have one more thing to
Those
say.
are printed pieces,
Your
too, no
son's out
stickers.
to kill somebody. K-I-L-L. That's the kind of thing you get the big rap for, even a kid of 16.
My Eddie, he would not... First a thief, then a murderer.
Okay, Prokosh, I can't waste any more time on you. A 16-year-old girl had more faith in your son than you have. And I've got to keep faith with her. That stubborn old...
Remember me, big shot?
Well, at least I didn't have to look for you, Stan.
No, you didn't. Because I was looking for you. Jump, boys, jump. Hold against that wall.
Okay, Stan.
Hold him. Twist his arms back, Slim.
Yeah.
I want to do this right.
Hey! No! Oh!
I owe this mug something. Imitation Bogart, huh? You had something to say about my knife, didn't you?
No.
How do you like it now? I ought to carve my initials all over that face of yours.
Hey, don't do it, Stan.
No, I won't do it. It's really going to be a pleasure to work him over so even his own mother wouldn't recognize him.
I know my diction isn't very good, Lieutenant Riley.
Valentine, what's the matter with you? Where are you?
Just about got to the hall phone. Look, you got to do me a favor.
Yeah, sure. But what's wrong with you?
I thought I could keep the police out of a boy's life, but it's way over my head now. I need your help, Lieutenant.
Okay, shoot.
Look, pick up 2 boys down on Chelsea Square fast. Eddie Prokosh, about 5'8", freckles on his nose, wears a leather jacket. And Stan Lucas, get it?
Stan Lucas, yeah?
He's a dirty, vicious little... Oh.
Valentine, you stay where you are.
Don't worry, Lieutenant. I can't help myself.
Thanks, Edward Connie.
Hello, Angel.
George,
I know what you mean. Guy doesn't look his best in these hospitals.
Oh, darling, your face.
Look, what about Eddie? Did they pick him up?
Yes.
Before he got to Stan?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good.
Not quite so good.
What happened, Brooksy?
Lieutenant Riley has Eddie in jail.
Huh?
They found a gun on him.
But if he didn't get to Stan,
The
then...
gun was taken from a watchman in a holdup this morning.
Eddie?
No question about that gun.
But, Brooksy, when that guy's wrecking and now
I
this...
know. But, George, what do you think you're doing? Where are you?
Oh, I'm getting out of here and have a talk with Eddie in jail. Eddie, you gotta talk. What about you and that watchman?
What difference does it make what I say? Nobody will believe me.
Come on, Eddie, come on.
Oh, I bought that gun from Swenson, the pawnbroker, just a couple hours ago.
What?
Yeah, I was going to use it on Stan.
Well, didn't Lieutenant Riley check with the pawnbroker to see if your story was right?
Yeah, sure, but Swenson told him he hadn't seen me since I was sent away.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't be any surprise to me. I should be used to getting framed.
Now, look, you told me the truth, huh, Eddie?
I tell you, I was nowhere near that factory this morning. I was out looking for Stan.
And it was Stan who framed you on that hot car deal.
That's right.
Well, why didn't you say so when you were arrested?
Well, what proof did I have? He would have lied his way out of it. And he wanted to get rid of me so he could have Emily for himself. Yeah, I know all about her going on with him while I was away. One of the kids up at camp told me.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Eddie. You got Emily all wrong.
Yeah,
You know why Emily was going out with Stan? She explained all that to Miss Brooks.
I'm not interested.
She was afraid of what Stan would do to you when you got out. And he said he could stop the allowance your father was getting every month.
What? What's that?
You heard me, Eddie. If Emily were giving you a runaround, she wouldn't come to me to keep you from making a darn fool of yourself.
Yeah, but... nobody does anything for anybody unless there's a payoff in it somewhere. Nobody gives a good hoot about me anyway.
Look at me, tough guy. My face, I mean.
Stan and the gang did give you a good going over, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Very artistic job. You think I'd look like this if I didn't give a good hoot about you?
Well,
and I suppose the payoff on this for me is going to be $1 million.
I'm sorry, Mr. Valentine.
Okay, Eddie, we understand each other. Now, I'll show you how much I believe in you. Here, take this.
A knife?
Yeah, that's right. Wolfpack style. A la Lucas.
I don't get it.
I'm going to talk to Lieutenant Riley. And you're going to have a chance to talk to Stan alone in his cell when they bring him in.
You mean you're going to let me loose with him? With this?
That's right, Eddie.
Oh, that'll be just dandy with me.
Now, look. We've got to get Stan to talk, and he's not giving out for the police or for me. You're the only one who can make him talk. Now, you listen closely.
All right, I don't mind playing ball with you, Valentine. I'm all for helping the kid.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
But you realize the spot I'm putting myself in, letting Eddie have a knife when he talks to Stan?
We'll be right next to the cell door.
Go right in, Mr. Morrissey. The lieutenant's waiting for you.
Thank you. Well, it's good to see you, Morrissey. How are you, Lieutenant?
Miss Brooks. Hello, Mr. Morrissey.
I see they're keeping you stepping down there at Chelsea Square. I'm afraid so, but we do our best. Well, Valentine thought you ought to be in on this Prokosh case. Eddie's one of your boys, you know. I know.
Yeah, we're going to hear Eddie's side of the story.
And if it sounds convincing, we know you'd want to help.
I'm glad you thought of me. Okay, let's get going. Sergeant, bring the Prokosh boy to cell 9. We'll be right there.
Okay, Eddie. The lieutenant says you can talk to this guy 5 minutes.
Thanks.
Well. How did you get out, Prokosh? You didn't stay out very long, did you?
No, you saw to that, Stan.
Come on, you're talking through your head.
Am I?
You want me to give you regards to anybody when I get bailed out? Emily, for instance?
You're not getting out of here.
What are you doing?
You ought to know this trick. How to hide a knife in your shoe so they don't find it when they search you.
Hey, Eddie, put that thing away.
I've been waiting to catch up with you, Stan.
Look, stay away from me.
You framed me running those stolen cars. Well, now you're going to pay for it.
Look, kid, take it easy, will you?
Didn't you?
Look, I didn't mean to frame you, Eddie. It was all a mistake. Help! Somebody help! He's going to... Stop him! Help!
Yeah, I was looking around for a gun, and sooner or later I'd wind up at Swenson's, so you planted that hot gun there.
Yeah, that's right. But look, kid... Help, get this guy out of here, you hear me? Get him out of here!
Well, get him out of here, all right.
They was trying to murder me. Hey, what are you doing here?
You got a good memory for faces, Stan, especially ones you've been working on.
Gosh, Mr. Valentine, it worked. You heard him, didn't you?
Yes, Eddie, we heard everything.
Look what's going on here. You got no...
Shut up.
Mr. Morrissey, get me out of here. I didn't do nothing.
Well, the less you say, the better, Stan.
Look, you can't let him railroad me like that.
I'll do everything I can, same as I would for everyone else from our district. I guess you're going to stay put, Lucas. And the rest of your gang will be sent to a place where they can learn to do something useful with their lives. Come on, everybody.
Wait a minute, Lieutenant.
Huh?
Isn't it going to be kind of crowded in here for Stan and Mr. Morrissey?
What are you talking about, Valentine?
What do you mean, George?
That was some nice double talk between you and Stan a second ago. The less he says, the better. The better for you meant, didn't you, Morrissey?
Now, look, Lieutenant,
and you, Stan, you said, you can't let them railroad me or I'll...
Well,
or you'd give away the whole works, wouldn't you? Morrissey was the real guy behind the stolen car racket and a lot of other rackets down in Chelsea Square. Morrissey, you were using Stan to bully the other kids into line.
That's why Stan boasted he could cut off the little money Mr. Prokosh was getting from the association.
Well, you don't seem to have much to say, Morrissey.
Everybody knows my reputation.
Oh, yeah. The big power of the neighborhood. Big enough to make Swenson, the pawnbroker, perjure himself so you could be rid of Eddie. I think you can get Swenson to talk now, Lieutenant.
I told you he sold me that gun.
You got this all wrong, Valentine. This Lucas boy here has caused all kinds of trouble. If he tries to implicate me, surely no one is going to believe him.
Marcy, you're not going to walk out and leave me holding the bag. Valentine is right. I got lots of proof.
Keep quiet, you little rat.
See what I mean, Lieutenant? On second thought, it wouldn't be safe to leave them both in the same cell.
Mr. Valentine, what's that saying about an old fool?
Well, I don't know about that saying, Mr. Prokosh. Why not settle for another one? Better late than never.
Except for you, I would have made a terrible mistake. Thank you.
George, come here.
Oh, what is it, Brooksy?
Look down there out of the window.
Huh?
There's Emily and Eddie sitting on the stoop.
Oh, yeah. Offhand, I'd call that romance, Angel.
And offhand, I remember a saying, too.
Hmm?
Speak for yourself, John, if you know what I mean.
And now, a message of importance to motorists. The merry month of May means a merry vacation for a lot of folks. And if you're one of them, here's the way to start out safe as well as happy. Just make sure your car gets a vacation check at a standard station or an independent Chevron gas station. Do this a day or two before you start out. When the men at these service stations inspect your tires, battery, crankcase oil, spark plugs, all the vital parts, they give your car the same thoroughgoing care they'd give their own. While you're getting this important vacation check, get a new keyless gas cap, too. It has a simple combination lock, no key to lose. And it guarantees your gasoline is safe from theft during your vacation trip and whenever you park your car. Keyless, self-locking gas caps are another better motoring item available at independent Chevron gas stations and at standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear...
Oh, hello, Angel.
Oh, darling, I thought you'd never open your eyes.
Oh, why doesn't somebody turn that radiator off? It's hissing.
We're back in the manlock at the tunnel, George.
Huh? Oh, what happened?
Well, you were down here this morning, and you must have come up too quickly, and you got the bend.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. Then coming up, and then everything went blank.
There was another accident in the tunnel.
What? Oh, hey, I'm beginning to remember a few things now. And I'm pretty sure I know what causes these accidents. Brooksy, quick, help me over to that phone.
Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by David Victor and Herbert Little, Jr. and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Mary Lou Harrington as Emily, Jay Novello as Dr. Prokosh, Tommy Cook as Eddie, Tony Barrett as Stan, and Herbert Butterfield as Morrissey. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. The Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Okay, there you go. That was a pretty good one, too, the Wolfpack. We had one not so good one at the beginning, but yeah. As you can see, all the lights are done. The saloon sign looks fantastic. Everything on the inside is done. What I'm working on right now is, and I can't show it. The camera can't see it really. Well, maybe if I go a little bit farther up here, maybe you can see a little bit better. Let me look. I'm putting in all the details, like Yeah, even there you can't really see it because I'm underneath the porch where the porch hangs. I'm putting like little cactus barrels, little greenery and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here, and it's hard for you to see that part of what I'm doing, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the shows. Yeah, this definitely came out really good. I like the saloon sign. It looks really, really cool. Man, this is my first lighted kit, and I just can't tell you how much I love the lights. It just adds a bit of realism to it, you know, being able to see inside and all of that. It's just fantastic. So I love this, man. I'll most definitely be getting more FunWhole kits. Well, I got Susan's Antique Store, and it's the first modular by FunWhole, and I can't wait to build that. So that's what I'll be doing. But yeah, just this is all that's left. I've got a little bit of greenery and stuff, and like a old time wheel. So little details going on the front of this. And I will do a full, complete review, but I'm going to keep filming and playing some Let George Do It as I'm finishing up the little touches, even though you can't really see them. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. So enjoy, and I am going to continue probably up until showtime overnight with CBS Radio Mystery Theater. So let me do another show. It is going to be Bewildered Birdwatcher, a.k.a. Penthouse Roof. So let's, from 1948. Most of these are from 1948 I got. Here we go. Another one. Bye, Bailey.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It. Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. Danger is my stock and trade. If the trouble you're in is way off the beaten track and you need help that's strictly confidential, you've got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear sir, you employed the word confidential in your advertisement. Well, I need confidential help. My enthusiasm for birds has led me into a predicament. I was watching starlings, but I saw something that was never meant to be seen, and it keeps haunting me, if I really saw it. Unless my eyes deceive me.
My eyes deceive me. I was the witness, the only witness to an outrageous crime. There's nothing more I can say in a letter. Please contact me at once, and it's signed Elliot Wormsley.
Wormsley, that sounds like a name on a Dickens.
Elliot Wormsley, MS, PhD, Statistical Services, Baxter Building.
Birdwatcher, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of canaries is the statistician interested in anyway?
Oh, stop kidding, George.
Where you tie
That's
up
a pretty
the
grim
horse at.
phrase. I was the only witness to an outrageous crime.
And he's in a predicament. That's a twist.
What was it he could have seen?
I don't know, Brooksy, but let's see what we can see. Let's drop in on Dr. Wormsley.
These are the binoculars, Mr. Valentine. The ones I used to watch starlings on that penthouse roof down there.
Uh-huh.
But that's almost 3 blocks away, Dr. Wormsley.
I know.
The river house, huh? Pretty swanky.
Golly, George. You can see halfway around the world with these binoculars.
All right, Angel, stop playing. Back to you, Dr. Wormsley. So you looked for starlings and saw a killer hawk.
Something like that, Mr. Valentine.
Okay. Now, just what was this outrageous crime? What did you see that you shouldn't have seen?
Murder.
I guess I dropped your binoculars, Doctor.
Did you say murder?
I can't be sure. But I just trained my eyes down there, as I've been doing for weeks. And in that instant, I'm almost certain I saw a man push another man off the roof. Of course, he had his back to me.
What do you mean, almost certain, Dr. Wormsley?
Well, it was over in a second. And I didn't expect to see what I think I saw. Besides, statistics show that the element of error in visualization over 100 yards is 14 to 1,000.
Yeah, well, we'll take your word for that. But why didn't you go to the police with this story?
Oh, no, Mr. Valentine. I'm a modest man, and I don't like publicity. Besides, I'm coming up for the presidency of my club. And, so many people think bird watching is, a little peculiar.
Yes, I know. You wouldn't make it. But murder is a very serious business.
Mr. Valentine, if I had seen any mention of what I suspected in the newspapers, I would have volunteered this information to the police.
Trough.
But as it is, no crime has been reported.
Well, that's right, George. I didn't see anything about it.
Still, the picture of those two men keeps haunting me. I'm thinking of my reputation, but I do have some public spirit, and I have to make sure. My conscience wouldn't let me rest if I didn't.
Oh, I see. And you want me to check at the River House and soothe your conscience?
That's it, young man, precisely. It shouldn't take you more than a day, and I'm willing to pay your usual fee.
Okay, it's a deal, Wormsley. Oh, Brooksy.
Yes, George.
Just on a hunch, get down to the Bureau of Missing Persons. See Finley.
Okay.
Find out if anybody's been reported missing from the River House.
You will keep my name out of this, won't you?
Oh, yes, we'll do our best, Professor. I'll meet you back here later, Brooksy.
Okay, George.
I'm going over to the River House.
Oh, you're very fortunate, Mr. Valentine. Penthouse B is vacant, and it's only $5,400 a year.
Yeah, a point of information, Mr. Stevens. As I get it, the sun deck of this wing facing the river is for the exclusive use of Penthouse A and B.
Oh, it's very private. And Penthouse A is occupied by the Dunlaps, Philip Dunlap, the broker. So that would put you in very good company, and only $5,400 a year.
Well, I was thinking of something a little better, but I'll let you know.
Look who went and rang my doorbell. Wouldn't be the full of brush man, would you?
Not unless my samples are showing.
Oh, come on in anyway. I hope you'll pardon the sunsuit. I wasn't expecting company.
No, it's nothing at all. I mean, practically.
I was out on the roof sunbathing.
I'm Mrs. Dunlap?
That's right.
Well, I'm the chap
It's been a dull afternoon. Suppose we wait a while before you tell me what you want.
Well, as a matter of fact...
You aren't going to stand there, are you? Here, sit down.
The truth is, Mrs. Dunlap, I may be your next-door neighbor in Penthouse B.
Oh. Well, that would be the first improvement they've made in River House without raising our rent.
I thought it'd be a nice gesture to sort of drop in on my possible neighbors and introduce myself. There is a Mr. Dunlap, isn't there?
Yes, but you needn't worry about him. He hasn't been home for 2 days.
Oh, just like that, huh?
Well, that's Philip for you. Thank heavens. He must have decided to go up to our cabin in the mountains to brood. Or he may be staying at his club. But as I said, this looked like a dull afternoon. We're not going to let it be one, are we? Oh, fine. That wouldn't be Philip. He has his key.
Well, whoever it is, just explain I'm looking at the penthouse next door.
Hal.
Listen, Paula, we haven't heard from Philip yet, and there are letters and contracts he has to sign downtown.
All right, Hal. I'm not my husband's keeper.
Oh, just the same, I thought you might be worried. Oh, I didn't know you were having company.
Well, this gentleman may be our next-door neighbor, I hope. Mr.
The name's Valentine.
Really, Paula? At least now you know his name.
Mr. Valentine. This intense young man is my husband's secretary, Hal Sterrett.
How do you do? I don't know what you're going to do, Paula, but I'm going to call the police and report Philip missing.
Please do that, Hal. I'd feel so much better. Lord, how I hate righteous men, especially when they're young. So petulant. Now, where were we, Mr. Valentine?
I was just about to leave.
A mood is a very fragile thing, isn't it?
Oh, you've been right neighborly, ma'am. Goodbye.
I don't think it's goodbye. Anyway, it was very nice, even not having known you.
Oh, Mr. Valentine. Mr. Valentine.
Oh, Dr. Wormsley.
I was waiting for you to come out of the River House.
But why? I thought you made it a point you were to be the unknown factor in this deal.
After you left, I did some calculating.
Yeah, good for you, good for you. There must be a way of getting into this empty lot without climbing over that fence.
And in my calculations, I discovered that the odds against anything as extraordinary as this happening to an ordinary man like me would be about 14,000 to 1.
You don't say.
So if you don't mind, Mr. Valentine, I'd sort of like to tag along with you and see if I'm really that 1 in 14,000.
Uh-huh. Looks as though there's a gate in this fence. If we can get these trash cans out of the way.
George!
Hey, Brooksy, you should have brought a friend. We'd have a fourth for bridge.
Hello, Miss Brooks.
Oh, George, there's been no report of anyone missing in this district.
Oh, thanks.
I was on my way to your office, Dr. Wormsley, when I saw you heading for the river house. So here I am.
Well, kids, let's see what we shall see.
It's just an overgrown lot.
That's right.
George, you think that if Dr. Wormsley is right, the man would
Nothing like checking, Brooksy. Dr. Wormsley, you did say that when you saw a man pushing another one off the roof, his back was towards you?
If I saw what I thought I saw. That's right.
Uh-huh. That would mean he was facing away from you, toward the river.
Yes.
Well, there's the river behind that high-board fence. And on this side of the building, there are only the windows from the elevator shafts and the stairway.
So no one would have seen him fall.
Mr. Valentine, over here, look. Huh? That's a man. I mean, it was.
Uh-huh. Past tense is putting it mildly.
Oh, George. Then it wasn't my imagination after all.
No, Dr. Wormsley, it wasn't. And just to quote a few more odds, it's at least 1,000,000 to 1 this is the body of Philip Dunlap.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about the great American pastime. If you're a baseball fan, check these 2 tips for getting the most out of this season. Number 1, when you're driving to and from the game, use fast-starting Chevron Supreme gasoline. Special blending agents in Chevron Supreme give your car speedy warm-up and quick pickup for traffic getaways. And when it comes to hill climbing, premium quality Chevron Supreme gasoline takes you smoothly over the steepest ones. Number 2, at independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations where you can get Chevron Supreme gasoline, there's a grand gift for you. It's a 48-page book about baseball written by Bert Dunn. You'll find in your free copy of Batter Up the fundamentals about this great American sport. One illustrated section shows how to play each different position. Ask for a free copy of Batter Up tomorrow. It's yours at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now, back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. It's only natural for a member of the Bird Watchers Society, even when he's a professional statistician like Dr. Wormsley, to be watching starlings on a penthouse roof. But when instead his binoculars revealed one man pushing another off that self-same roof, well, that's just sort of a case George would get involved in. It's about an hour since George found Philip Dunlap's body in the weed-covered lot back of the apartment building. And now we join George and Claire talking to Lieutenant Riley at Homicide.
Yeah, what is it?
Lieutenant Riley, Donnelly just brought Hal Sterrett in. Do you want to see him now?
No. Let him cool his heels out there a while with Mrs. Dunlap.
Yes, sir.
How about Dr. Wormsley, Lieutenant Riley?
Okay, Valentine, okay. When Lieutenant Johnson turned the case over to me, I didn't know what I was getting in for, but I'll do my best to keep your client's name out of the case.
Oh, you're a pal.
Well, as a matter of fact,
I
Lieutenant,
needed
you owe our little
a
bird
quick
watcher
snack
debt.
and something
He
to
did
drink.
uncover a murder.
And a
Miss
potty
Brooks,
break.
I don't want to appear ungrateful.
Oh, no.
I can always use a new murder.
Oh?
I'm
Ginger ale.
overjoyed that when you and Valentine stumbled over this homicide, you were thoughtful enough to let me know about it.
Oh, well, it's nothing at all.
If you hadn't, I'd lock both of you up and throw the key away.
Well, now that you're back your own sweet self, would you mind telling us what you found out from Mrs. Dunlap?
Well, she said she was out shopping all that afternoon, and the doorman is alibying her. When she got back, this kid, Starrett, was still there, waiting to see his boss, Mr.
I wish you guys could see, like, how I'm putting all the little details on the front porch, but it's hard because it's covered, but I will definitely do a full review.
Dunlap. He hung around a little longer and then beat it.
Did Mrs. Dunlap suggest that there might have been any bad blood between Starrett and her husband?
Well, she wasn't too anxious to admit it, but it seems young Starrett was being fired.
Yeah, but what was the reason? Bad spelling or making Google eyes at the boss's wife?
I wouldn't know, not yet. Mrs. Dunlap was too broken up to go into every little detail.
Broken up, huh? I can just see her tears flowing like wine.
What do you mean by that?
Well, just thinking out loud.
Yes, Lieutenant?
You can send Starrett in here now.
Yes, sir.
Well, it looks to me as though Mr. Starrett has some explaining to do, or else.
Well, we know that he was there that afternoon, and your Dr. Wormsley saw a man push Dunlap off the roof. Come in, son. Come in.
Lieutenant,
Sit
I don't
down.
understand any of this. Oh, you.
Hello, Starrett.
What are you doing here?
Just a neighbor.
Goes to show you how hard it is to get subs, even when you got a channel that's got tons of subscribers. I posted over there, streaming now to some old time radio. Come on over. Maybe not a lot of people see the community page. You know what I mean? Posts, but no subscribers. I think three. But out of because the main thing I got to get on here, I've got 378. I've got to definitely get up to 1,000 subscribers. You know, if I want to, monetize this channel. It's not really about that on this channel. It's just really about fun. But I would like to get more subscribers. That's for sure. Especially the ones over on the Late Late Horror Show. But just to show you how hard it is to do. I tell you.
Interest in the fate of your late employer?
Say, what is this?
Yes, George, I didn't know you two had met.
Well, never mind. Now, what's this about Dunlap deciding to fire you, Starrett?
Well,
Why?
He didn't like my work, I guess. That's the usual reason, isn't it?
You'll save a lot of time if you tell us the truth.
You asked me a question, and I gave you the only answer you're going to get.
You had a fight with your boss, didn't you?
No.
In the struggle, you pushed him off the roof.
No.
A man saw you from an office building.
He couldn't have.
Oh, Lieutenant.
Yes, Donnelly?
Can I see you a minute?
Yeah, okay. I'll be right back.
Hey, tell me something, Starrett.
Yes?
If you were already fired, why were you so worried about Dunlap? Even going to the Bureau of Missing Persons yourself?
Because he was the best friend I ever had.
It hardly jives with the story Lieutenant Riley is building up.
Hey, Starrett.
Yes?
You're a college man, aren't you?
Oh, what of it?
Syracuse, 1942?
What? Why, yes, but how did you know?
This, Phi Beta Kappa, too, aren't you?
That's right. But what are you driving at, Lieutenant?
Well, this Phi Beta Kappa key. The medical examiner found it clenched in Dunlap's fist. It's yours.
I don't know how it could have gotten there.
He must have ripped the key off your chain as he fell off the roof. Okay, Starrett, I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder.
It's nice of you to visit me in jail, Valentine. But what's the use of going over the same story again?
Well, let's say it intrigues me, Starrett.
Paula would go right on denying I ever gave her that key. I can't prove it. Why should you believe me any more than anyone else?
Because I happen to know a little more about the lady in question. Now, look, friend, let's stop being delicate. Paula decided she liked your type and made you the odd man in the triangle. That's why Dunlap was giving you the gate.
Oh, I tried to break off with her, but she always managed to be around, taunting me. She had me spinning on my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Say, did you have a fight with Dunlap when he fired you?
No, I wish there had been. That would have been easier than the way it was.
Go on.
He was hurt, and I was sick and ashamed of myself. He knew there were others, and that made the whole thing even cheaper.
Now, surely just firing you, Starrett, wasn't the answer for Dunlap.
Oh, he knew that. One of my last acts as his secretary was drawing up the papers that cut her out of his will.
Hey, now, wait a minute. That just puts you in deeper. That means Paula had no motive. Hey, how about insurance?
Well, there was a big policy Philip took out recently with Paula's beneficiary. He didn't change that.
Oh, wasn't that kind of strange?
Oh, it wasn't something he overlooked. There was a funny smile on his face when he told me he was leaving that as is.
That's very interesting.
Oh, look, Valentine, I didn't kill Philip. When I was there, I didn't even know he was out on the roof.
Okay, I'll just take it easy. I'll do what I can.
What can you do? You'll never get the truth about that key out of Paula. And Dr. Wormsley swears there was a man out there struggling with Philip. What man? A burglar? One of Paula's ex-boyfriends? Or possibly the man on the moon?
I think I'll drop in on Paula again. I don't know what I expect to find, but with a gal like that, the unexpected is bound to be interesting.
if it isn't my next-door neighbor. What now? Cup of sugar? Couple of eggs?
Well, maybe I did make a little fib, but you didn't believe me anyway, did you, Mrs. Dunlap?
Paula.
Okay, Paula. Too bad about young Sterrett, isn't it?
What a thing to say to a grief-stricken widow. Can I get you anything? We may as well make ourselves comfortable.
You've got a head start in those lounging pajamas. They're really something.
I was wondering when you were going
Make
to
it a
notice
cactus.
Hey, you know, I never appreciated before what lounging pajamas can do for a woman.
Didn't you?
No. I might say if she were out on a roof and someone happened to see her from Dr. Wormsley's window, he might mistake her for a man.
If he'd never seen a woman before.
His office is more than 2 blocks away. But to get back to our hypothetical woman,
Yes.
how much do you guess she'd have coming to her if her husband were murdered and there was a nice fat insurance policy, the only thing he didn't cut her out of?
We've gotten a long way from lounging pajamas.
Oh, I don't know. And I can't help wondering what the lady in question would do if she had a perfect patsy and a difficult young man who was suffering pangs of conscience. She might even do something brash if she happened to remember the Phi Beta Kappa key he gave her in a tender moment.
Tell me, have you confided these flights of fancy to anyone else?
Oh, no, my sweet. I wanted you to be the first to know.
And you, my sweet, will ruin your eyes reading all those pulp magazines. There's another angle to this lady of the rooftops.
Oh, what's that?
With all the insurance money she's sure to get, and with an admiring eye for a certain broad-shouldered character who seems to know what it's all about, she might make life very pleasant for him. Very.
You couldn't say he knew what it was all about if he fell for a pitch like that, now, could you?
Oh. I'd better get my cigarette before we go on with this little game.
Or you can quit playing any time you want to.
My dear old father used to play a lot of poker. He used to say the game was never over till the last bluff was called.
Huh? Didn't your old man tell you that even one of those effeminate-looking automatics make a loud noise and leave holes when they go off?
I have a permit for this gun.
Uh-oh. Come on now, Paula. Let's see if you can answer that phone with one hand.
You know, Georgie, that could be your next to the last glib remark.
When that phone stops ringing, you're going to worry yourself into a tizzy trying to guess who it was.
We've been supposing a lot of things here tonight. Now, let me top it off. Suppose they found you draped on the floor there with a bullet in your head.
Okay, what then?
I was in bed when I heard sounds in the living room. I opened the door. There was a figure in the darkness. After everything I'd been through, I didn't stop to think. I shot the prowler.
I gotta hand it to you, Paula.
Skip it. Just sit there on the couch a few minutes till I get my story straight. When I shoot you, I may have to tell the story 12 times tonight, so it's got to be perfect.
Okay, you stalled too long. You missed your chance, beautiful. It'd be a mistake to shoot me now.
What are you talking about?
Behind you. There's somebody out there on the penthouse roof.
You know I'm smarter than that. Well,
I'll take the toy now.
You
Drop
let
it.
go of that, you.
Oh, George, there you are. I tried to call, and then I remembered about the empty penthouse next door and the adjoining sun deck, and... Oh, for Pete's sake, somebody say something.
Oh, just a little parlor game, Brooksy.
Yes. I was just showing Mr. Valentine how I almost mistook him for an intruder.
Oh?
Lieutenant Raleigh will probably find it very amusing when we tell him about it.
Oh, that ain't the way I seen
For
it.
the time being, Angel, we have to see things Paula's way. But more important right now is to see if we can get a man out of bed.
No trouble at all, Valentine. Don't mind selling a little insurance any time of the night.
Are these all representative policies, Bennett?
Yes, sirree. Anything you want, we've got it. Life, accident, comprehensive liability, tornado insurance, plate glass.
Any insurance against fatality during parlor games?
What's that, Miss Brooks?
Just a private joke.
This life insurance policy.
Oh, any amount you want. Just a simple physical
Well, these
examination.
clauses at the beginning, they're pretty standard in all life insurance policies, aren't they?
Yes, indeed. Each one of them meant to protect policyholder and the company.
What's up, George?
Well, thanks a lot, Bennett. You've been a great help.
Yeah, but look, old man.
Sorry, shopping around, but I'll keep you in mind. Let's go, Brooksy. Now, Brooksy, first thing in the morning, I want you to check with all the druggists in this section of town around River House, Dr. Wormsley's office, 20 or 30 blocks in each direction.
Oh, my aching
I'm going to be
feet.
with Lieutenant Riley. I hate to think of his blood pressure when I mention one little word.
Autopsy?
That's the word.
Valentine, if I had any hair, I'd tear it out. What are you talking about?
Well, now, look, it can't do any harm, Lieutenant.
No one in his right mind can doubt how Dunlap died. This Wormsley saw him shoved off the roof. Then the body was found sprawled all over an empty lot 12 floors below. Cause and effect.
I have every reason to doubt that Sterrett killed Dunlap.
I suppose you're going to tell me Mrs. Dunlap killed him, huh? That she used to be the strong woman in the circus.
I didn't say she killed him.
Then who? What? Ah, for the love of heaven.
How about that autopsy, Lieutenant?
All right, Doctor. Will you tell Valentine here that he's just been wasting our time?
I wouldn't say that, Lieutenant.
Huh?
What'd you find?
Enough poison in Dunlap to stop an army dead in its tracks.
All right. All right, I can't argue with the laboratory. But I don't get it, Valentine. How many times do you kill a man, poison, throw him off the roof? It's a wonder we didn't find a knife in his back, too.
Doctor, just how does this particular poison work?
Instantly. Every muscle in the body becomes rigid all at once and stays that way.
Then it's possible that after a couple of days, the effects of the poison could be mistaken for rigor mortis.
Not only possible, Mr. Valentine. It seems just what happened.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If Dunlap's fist was clenched like that the moment the poison took effect, how did that Phi Beta Kappa key get in his hand?
That's the point, Lieutenant. It was forced into it. And certainly Hal Sterrett didn't do it.
That does it. That does it. I'm going to have Paula Dunlap picked up, and she'd better have all the answers. Oh, no. No, Mrs. Dunlap, you're going to have to do better than that.
I know how it looks, Lieutenant Rowley, but you're wrong, believe me.
Paula, you had to be the one who put that key in your husband's hand. Sterrett wouldn't sign his own death warrant.
I know, but
Here are the facts the jury will hear. You were the man Wormsley saw wearing lounging pajamas. You had the motive, the insurance money, so you poisoned Mr. Dunlap, then pushed him off the roof to implicate an innocent man.
All right. All right, I'll tell you just what happened.
Remember, Mrs. Dunlap, you're doing this of your own free will.
Hal Sterrett left that afternoon. I went out on the roof for a moment. Philip was there, an empty highball glass next to him. He was dead. Well, don't look at me that way. He was already dead. He'd committed suicide.
How do you know that?
There was a note, cruel note, saying that I was the cause of all the unhappiness in his life. He was leaving me without a cent.
Okay. I suppose you have the note.
No, I destroyed it.
Oh, no, that wasn't very smart.
Don't you see? I had to. So no one would ever find out it was suicide.
Now, wait a minute.
There was a clause in his policy. It's in most policies, saying that if he killed himself within the first year, the beneficiary wouldn't get a cent.
That much is true, Lieutenant.
What I did was wrong, but I wasn't going to let Philip leave me without a cent. That'll stand up in court, won't it? Even though I did destroy the note, they'll believe me, won't they?
Since you asked my opinion, the answer's no. But my job is finished now.
Oh, no.
George.
Hey, how goes it, Brooksy? What luck?
You were right. I found out what you wanted to know at the Gotham Pharmacy on Morton Boulevard.
Now what?
What am I going to do? I've got to find a way to prove I'm innocent. This isn't fair.
Remembering that gun you held in my face and Hal Sterrett, I'm tempted to keep my mouth shut and let you stew in your own juice.
What do you mean?
Me and you both.
I don't know what charge you're going to hold her on, Lieutenant, but it won't be murder.
What?
Did you hear what he said, Lieutenant?
What are you talking about, Valentine?
Brooksy just found out that Philip Dunlap bought that poison himself at the Gotham Pharmacy.
On a doctor's prescription he forged.
Oh, George. Oh, how can I ever thank you?
Oh, that's easy. The next time you're up on that roof alone, see if you can prove the law of gravity really works.
George, don't you think that was sort of a morbid joke for Dunlap to play on his wife?
Well, Angel, Paula played a few pretty grim jokes herself.
Yes, but to leave her name in that insurance policy, knowing that she wouldn't get a penny.
Crime, punishment, so forth.
Hello. Anybody here?
Oh, Dr. Wormsley.
I just thought I'd drop in and take care of that little bill I owe you.
Oh, thanks.
How do the birds look these days, Doctor?
What? Oh, yes. That reminds me. I must thank you, Valentine, for keeping my name out of the Dunlap case. After all, I was the key witness, and I... Oh, dear.
Well, that's all washed up now.
Thank goodness. Oh, yes. Mrs. Dunlap isn't living there anymore, you know.
No?
It seems 3 young ladies are sharing that apartment now. And yesterday...
Why, Dr. Wormsley. Oh. What kind of birds are you watching now?
Oh, well, they were very wild canaries. Oh, goodness. What am I saying?
And now, a message of importance to motorists. If this is the time of year your family gets travel-minded, it's probably the time you start thinking about new tires. And you know which make of tire gives you a written warranty against ordinary road hazards? The answer is easy. Atlas tires. That's right. Each new Atlas passenger tire is warranted for 12 months against blowouts, cuts, and bruises that might happen to ordinary tires. And each Atlas tire has a double warranty. First, by the manufacturer, and second, by the distributor. Another thing to keep in mind when you're buying tires is a 2 or 4 wear better than an uneven number. Give you softer riding and easier car handling. For that extra margin of safety, get Atlas tires at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear...
Well, Brooksy, looks like playing Big Brother a la Spencer Tracy didn't work out. Eddie beat it while I was shaving.
Oh, that crazy little kid.
He only left this note. He's on the prowl. To quote, he's going after Stan Lucas.
Oh, no. What can we do, George?
I gotta stop him somehow. Hey, listen, you look up Emily. Maybe she can give us a clue on how we can find Eddie.
Okay, George.
And remember, Brooksy, it's a race against time.
Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George, with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Amer appeared as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by David Victor and Herbert Little, Jr., and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Louise Arthur, Fred Howard, Peter Leeds, Charles Seal, and Charles Lund. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Don't forget to listen again next week, 1 hour earlier, over the same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Okay, there we go. Another Let George Do It. Very, very cool. That was a good episode as well. Loving it. Just little details is what I'm doing. That's all. Just working on little details on the front. I tried to show you guys the cactus, the bushes, little water barrel, water trough, a horse. What do you call it? Where they tie off the horses and all that, and little tiny cactus flowers, which are kind of really cool. That was a really interesting story. I like it. I can open up the door on the oh, can I? That door better be able to come open. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I can open up the door to the balcony here. Ooh, that is bright. That is some bright LED lights in there on the chandelier. I did put chairs in there that I built. They're not set down, so I guess when I move it and put it where I'm going to put it, I can't turn it around and show you. Everything will go everywhere. So, anyways, I like Let George Do It stories, Edward Stewart. Yeah. I'm just going to keep doing this till about 9:30. Again, this is all I have to do here, so I should be done by maybe 9, I'm thinking, but who knows. Anyways. And then a good CBS Radio Mystery Theater with timestamps. And it will end the day in Emily's Morning Coffee with nice 15-minute shocking news stories from 1949. So that should be interesting, too. Let's do The Corpse That Took a Powder. The Corpse That Took a Powder. Let's see if I can get through the rest of this in one episode. So here we go. The Corpse That Took a Powder. Let George Do It. 1948.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. The
corpse that took a powder. Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. Danger is my stock and trade. If life's tossing curves you can't handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear Mr. Valentine, they say that if you think about suicide twice, you won't go through with it. Well, I've thought of suicide over and over again. Tomorrow evening, I'm going through with it. Unless by then you can find some way of freeing me from this horror and the fear that's driving me to this. Hurry. Please hurry, Mr. Valentine. I need somebody's help so badly.
I need somebody's help so badly. I'm desperate. And it's signed Marcia Palmer, Afton Apartments 4A.
All right, Brooksy, we'd better get on our bicycles.
Wait a minute, George.
Huh?
Well, don't you think this note sounds, well, a little hysterical? Offbeat?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Come to think of it, let's change that to motorcycle.
Well, I meant something else. Why don't we telephone the Afton Apartments? Tell the young lady just to stay put till we get over there.
Angel, too much of a chance. Suppose we aren't persuasive enough. It might rush things along.
Well, still,
It may not be easy to explain a great horror of fear in so many words on the phone.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right.
So come on, Brooksy. There's only one way to tell. Excuse me, Mother.
Oh, young man. You nearly frightened me out of my wits.
Oh, sorry. We just wanted to get to one of those bells.
Oh. Funny how you fall into a routine, miss. First, I shine up the mailboxes in the vestibule. Then I work on the brass around the buzzer.
Yeah, well, that's a very nice system, but...
A little intelligence doesn't hurt, even if you're only a scrub woman.
Oh, no truer words were ever spoken. What was that apartment number again, George?
Of course, I haven't always done this kind of work. I wouldn't be doing it now if I weren't at liberty. But when you've got a job to do, you do it the best you know how.
Yeah, you're so right, Mother. But how about letting us at Marcia Palmer's bell?
Miss Palmer?
That's what the gentleman said.
Yeah, I've been worried about that girl the last few days.
Worried? Why?
Oh, you know how it is with people's appearances. You can always tell. She's afraid of something. Yes, sir, afraid.
Well, we'll try to take care of that. Which one of these bells do we ring?
No, you don't have to press the bell. Just take the elevator up. It's self-service. It's the third floor, 3A. I know she'll be glad to see friends, the poor soul.
3A. Hey, are you sure it's 3A?
Young man, I haven't worked here for a long time, I have. I should know where the tenants live. Of course, I'm only a scrub woman.
All right, Mom, all right, sorry. 3A it is.
What's the matter, George?
Nothing. I just think more than ever we ought to hurry. Maybe Miss Palmer has thought of suicide once too often.
Here we are, George. 3A.
Yeah. She's just got to be in, Brooksy. Well, that's a good sign. I heard somebody moving inside.
Good.
What? Hello.
Oh. Miss Palmer at home?
I haven't the slightest idea.
What?
Well, I've been trying to work up enough nerve to find out that very thing for myself.
Well, you certainly should be in a position to know. This is her apartment, isn't it?
Huh? Look, did I meet you people somewhere with Marcia? Here at my place at a party, perhaps?
Hey, now, wait a minute. Is this your place?
Well, that's what the lease says. The name is Glenn Stratton. I'm a commercial artist when I work.
Well, where does Marcia Palmer live?
Right over my head, just like an angel. Apartment 4A.
Sorry. It seems we got the wrong information.
Hey, there's nothing wrong, is there? I've been worried about Marcia lately. She hasn't seemed herself.
Yeah, I know. Afraid of something.
That's exactly it.
Come on, let's get upstairs, Brooksy.
Oh, if you see her, old man, would you tell her that her persistent suitor would love to have dinner with her?
The charge will be $1 for 10 words, Mr. Stratton.
All right.
Come on, honey. No use waiting for the elevator.
Mr. Stratton is quite a boy. Any minute you expect him to step back into Esquire.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder why Mother down in the vestibule gave us a bum steer about the apartment number. If anybody, she should know where people live in this place.
Well, let's be charitable and say she's slightly pixelated.
This must be it. Here, Angel. I better try it again.
Obviously, Marcia hasn't any fear of the outside world. The door's open.
Palmer?
Let's try the living room. Oh,
Did you say living room, Brooksy?
she's...
Yeah, that stuff all over the front of her is in red ink.
Oh, George, maybe we better...
Brooksy, don't touch.
But
This is a deal for the police. Anyway, she was considerate enough to leave a note right here by the gun.
Oh. What does it say?
Please forgive me. I hope this doesn't hurt anybody too much. But I really can't go on any longer. Marcia.
Oh, maybe if we'd come sooner.
She must have a telephone somewhere around here. Usually they belong on desks.
Oh, maybe it's in the bedroom. Oh, if we only knew what she meant by the fear that was driving her to this.
There's a lot of things we don't know about Marcia Palmer.
There's the phone on the bed table.
Oh, you're good. I don't know how I'm going to explain this to Lieutenant Riley. Hello, Riley's office, please. This is Valentine.
It seems simple enough to explain, but when you're all through, somehow you don't believe it.
Oh, hello, Riley. Yeah, me. I'm at the Afton Apartments, 45 Lorraine. Yeah, I know you're happy to know where I am. Now, look, a client of mine, Marcia Palmer's committed suicide. Okay, I know it's a big town and you can't go poking into every suicide, but... Oh, sure, I could report it through the ordinary channels, but believe me, there's something offbeat about this case. Okay, if you don't want to bother, I'll just take care of this myself. Okay. Well, I guess we can expect the lieutenant, Brooksy.
Good.
Now, let's get inside and see what we can find around here.
Oh, I don't think I'd like to look at her again if I can help it.
Just take it easy, Brooksy. I don't think you're going to have to look at her.
What do you mean?
I don't think I'd like to look at her again if I don't have to. Why is that just so funny?
There.
But that's impossible.
I know. She couldn't have just walked out of here.
And the note's gone.
Oh, Riley's going to love this. Well, anyway, the gun is still here. There's something I'd like to know right now, Brooksy.
What do you mean, George?
Do I or don't I have a client?
Well...
And if I do, where is she? Dead or alive? Oh, hey, you. You're the janitor here, aren't you?
I'm the superintendent here, if that's what you mean.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chief. Not that I believe anything like this happened, but did you notice Miss Palmer
I agree
leave
with
the
you,
building
Edward.
within the last few minutes?
Oh, the model?
Oh, whatever she was, did you see her?
No, and I've been working on this lawn for the last half hour. And if she did, I certainly would have... Young lady, did you say whatever she was?
Skip it, Chief. Now, did you see anyone else come out carrying a large bundle and driving off with it?
Nobody. This is very...
Yeah, the thing with the horror hosts like Sven Gulli and stuff like that, and of course Vincent from Creature Features, which, listen, I just can't stand that guy. I just cannot stand that guy. These people were given, well, not Sven Gulli, but Sven Gulli's just gone downhill, different direction. Would I put Sven Gulli in the class of the old school horror hosts? Not really. Creature Features. They were just handed something, and they got a beautiful set, everything else, but it's still not the same. I would love to be given something and take it old school, work with what they did back in the day. Censors might not be able to let you get away with some of the things they did back in the day in horror hosting, but yeah, it's just, you know what? You're able to go on YouTube and actually watch the old horror hosts. I would rather do that. Listen, I know some people still like Creatures Features gets a whole mess of people watching live, mostly for the movies, I guess, and just to chat amongst the people. Same with Sven Gulli. But you can go and search YouTube and watch some of the classic horror hosts. That's a better thing to do, I think. But nothing against those who like him. I'm just giving my opinion. Back to let George do it.
Quiet time of the day around here.
I see.
Hey, look, who are you people anyway?
Say, I want to talk to that elderly lady who cleans the halls for you.
I'd have you understand that I do every stitch of work around here myself. That's why it's so neat and clean.
But we talked to a scrub woman when we came in.
In the flesh.
We don't have a scrub woman here. The way I keep this place, you can eat off the floor.
But
We have no scrub woman.
No scrub woman. Hey, Red.
Valentine, aside from being a cop, I'm trying to be a logical, understanding man. When you tell me there was a girl sitting in this chair when you came in and she committed suicide, natural curiosity makes me ask one simple question. Where's the body?
We don't know.
Stop repeating yourself, Miss Brooks.
But she was there.
And while you were telephoning me in the bedroom, the corpse walked out on you. Well, I don't know why I should let that upset me. That sort of thing happens every day.
Well, it happened today.
Well, what about this letter she sent me, Lieutenant? And there's the gun, still on the desk.
Valentine, half the people who write you should be rounded up with a butterfly net.
The gun, Lieutenant?
Yes, we'll look at that right now. Careful, like, so we won't destroy the all-important fingerprints in this amazing case. There. Do you see what I see, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah.
Not one shot's been fired.
And from the looks and smell of this murderous instrument, I'd say it hadn't been used in weeks.
All right. I admit I'm stumped.
And this is the gun the girl who isn't here used to commit suicide. Yeah. How do you know she was even dead? Did you examine the body?
That's not fair, Lieutenant. You know you're not supposed to touch the body.
And where is this female Harvey who loves to polish mailboxes and doorknobs, but who doesn't work here?
Don't rub it in, Lieutenant. But I'm going to find an answer to this.
Oh, it's all yours. I'm going to have one of the boys track down your Miss Palmer for you, but if you ask me, my friend, somebody's taking you for a ride.
Well, if you ask me, my friend, it's Marcia Palmer who's been taken for a ride.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about conservation in your car. If you're not getting full gasoline mileage from your car, better have the spark plugs serviced for dirty, chipped, or cracked plugs. Often waste as much as 1 gallon out of every 10 gallons of gasoline. That's throwing away quite a bit of money, even if you buy only 10 gallons of gas a week. To help your spark plugs do their job, and they do have to fire 1 million times in every 1,000 miles, get them cleaned and reset. For this money-saving service, depend on the men who have a reputation for expert car care at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations. If your spark plugs have given you 10,000 miles of service, you'll be money ahead by getting a new set of Atlas Champions. These spark plugs are precision-made for accurate timing, full flash sparking, trouble-free service without fuel waste. And you can get Atlas Champion spark plugs at independent Chevron gas stations and at standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George
See
Valentine.
the lights red? As I
Well,
put
a
them
young
in about
model
halfway
threatened
through
suicide.
the stream,
Take a
I
darn
showed
quick
the
get over to her
inside. It looks
apartment.
really good.
But she's already dead. You go into the bedroom to call Lieutenant Riley on the phone, but when you come back, the body isn't there at the desk anymore. All of which makes no sense at all. But if you're like George Valentine, you find yourself face to face with, of all things, a theatrical agent.
No, Max. None of the ladies in these pictures is the one I'm looking for.
Oh, what are you saying, Georgie? Every one of these ladies spent the better part of their lives scrubbing floors in front of audiences.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. But
Edna Tremaine. Look at her there. In one place, she spent 2 full acts on her knees scrubbing floors to send her son through medical school. And then, in the third act, when he's the president of the same medical school, he passes her in the corridor. You don't even recognize it. Pathetic, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm all choked up, Max. But will you listen to me?
Wasn't I all the time?
No, I told you I feel pretty sure that someone hired a woman and a darn good actress to play the part of a phony scrub woman at the Afton Apartments today.
How can you be so sure she was an actress, Georgie?
A phrase she used, Max. She said she only worked there because she was at liberty. Now, that's a theatrical term. You know that.
At liberty? How I hate those words. The more I hear them, the more money I don't make.
Come on. Think hard, Max. I described it to you. She has a thin, hatchet-like face with eyes that tried to smile at you, but you couldn't quite believe it.
Wait a minute, Georgie. I got a few more pictures. People I ain't used for years. I'll let you see them. Hold it till I call my secretary. Who am I kidding? I ain't got a secretary.
Oh, same old Max. Hey, there's room for $10 on the expense account if you can be of help.
Must be down here in this drawer. Here, take a look, Georgie.
Okay, all right. No.
That one it wouldn't be. Very versatile. Well, it's strictly burlesque.
Hey, wait a minute. Who's this?
You recognize her?
She's the one, all right. What's her name? Where does she live?
I'll get you that information in a minute, sir. I'll just get my secretary.
Max?
Yeah. Who am I kidding? Well, I used to have a secretary. Anyway, on the back of it says her name is Amy Randall.
Address?
Hotel Raleigh. Character part.
It is.
Dialect,
It is.
Glad to audition. Age over 21. They all say that.
Okay, thanks, Max. I think I found just what I want.
I don't know how you found out where I live, Mr. Valentine, and I don't know what you want from an old scrub woman.
Do you mind if I hold your hand a minute, Mom?
Now, young
Such
man, I...
soft, well-kept hands. Not the hands of a scrub woman.
Huh?
Come on, Amy. Give it to me straight. I know all about you. You're an actress.
Oh. And I thought I played my part so perfectly.
Oh, that you did. You did that. You deserved 3 curtain calls. But come on now. Who hired you to be there just when we arrived?
When you've been out of work as long as I have, Mr. Valentine, you don't ask any questions. $50 for an hour's work is a lot of money.
Who was the man?
He never said.
He gave you a check, didn't he?
No, it was all cash.
What did he look like?
Well, he was rather short and stout.
Uh-huh.
And he had just a kind of fringe of gray hair on his head.
Yeah?
Told me he saw me on the stage once and looked me up. He said he was playing a practical joke on somebody. I just had to say I was worried about Miss Palmer and put on an act.
Uh-huh.
For a moment there. Didn't you really believe I was a scrub woman? Didn't you?
I told you before, Mom, you were slightly terrific.
You don't know what it means for me to hear you say that.
And you don't know just what kind of part you played in a little drama today.
What?
But then again, that makes us even, Mom. I don't know that either.
All right. If that's the way it has to be, the 3 of us will sit down here in the lobby until Miss Palmer gets home tonight.
I don't know why you're here at all, Lieutenant Riley. I thought you were convinced that this was all a weird joke and somebody was taking George for a ride.
Well,
Practically your own words, Lieutenant.
Valentine, I can handle you alone. And, Miss Brooks, I don't have too much trouble with you either. But when both of you gang up on me like this,
Yes?
Well, the truth is we haven't been able to find the Palmer dame all afternoon. And I just didn't put 1 man on the job, but 6. I covered all the places she usually hangs around, too, and nobody's seen her.
If you just stop blustering and pouting, Lieutenant, I'd like to say thanks for coming back.
Yeah? Well, I'm not doing you any favors. Every time you get a case like this, I get a headache. Let's say I'm here just because I can't afford to buy any more aspirin.
Well, how do you figure it, Lieutenant? Somebody went to a lot of trouble to hire an actress so she could create an appropriate atmosphere for the so-called suicide.
I know, Miss Brooks, I know.
Lieutenant Riley.
Stratton, I told you the first word I got about her, I'd let you know.
Oh, thank heaven you're still here.
What's the matter with you? What happened?
She's up there.
Miss Palmer?
Up where?
In her apartment. She's sitting there at the desk. I thought for a moment she'd speak to me, but she didn't.
Okay,
She
don't
didn't.
fall apart. Let's have it in clear, simple language.
Huh?
And words of small syllables.
She's dead. She killed herself.
No question about it now. She's good and dead. What were you doing here anyway, Stratton?
I thought I heard footsteps, so I came up. You see, we'd had a little argument last night. I just wanted to tell her I was sorry.
What kind of an argument?
The kind 2 people have when they love each other. No reason for it, but I don't know, when you want to make up for it, suddenly it's just too late.
All right, Stratton. We'll talk about that sometime later on.
But why the fake suicide this afternoon? And then to come back here tonight and go through the whole thing for keeps.
Hey, this might mean something, Lieutenant.
What's that?
There's a smear of blood on the light switch over there.
Oh, I must have done that. You see, it was dark, and fumbling for the light, I must have touched the desk first.
Didn't even notice it because as soon as I
This
saw it.
gun on the desk, the one Miss Palmer used, have you ever noticed it around here before?
Yeah. I told Marcia she was a fool to keep it around, but she had a license for it. She felt she was safer with it.
Any reason why she should write me a letter like this? Go on, Stratton. Take a good look at it.
It's Marcia's handwriting, all right. I'm sure of that. I can't understand what she could have meant.
Didn't you yourself say she seemed to be afraid of something?
I said she looked as though she did, and she really did, but I still don't know what it could have been.
Okay, Valentine, I know there might be a lot more to this, but for the time being, I've got to accept the obvious.
Obvious, he says.
Miss Palmer wrote you a letter threatening suicide. She went through with it. That's all we've got to work on for the time being. Oh, Stratton.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Be at headquarters at 10 in the morning. We want to get your story down straight.
That happens to be a very convenient hour for me, Lieutenant. You see, I'm unemployed.
Oh, one more thing, Stratton.
Yeah.
Marcia was a model. Where did she work?
Oh, she modeled clothes for a big firm downtown called the Mode Moderne.
Uh-huh. Which brings me to you, Brooksy.
Huh? I fail to see the connection.
We'll talk about it later. But you also have a date tomorrow morning at 10.
Yes, Miss Brooks. I'm Miss Gavin, the head model here.
Well, I know you're going to think I'm just perfectly mercenary.
Aren't we all?
I mean, to be here at the Mode Moderne the first thing in the morning after reading about what happened to that poor Marcia Palmer. Wasn't it perfectly awful?
Yes. It was quite a shock to all of us here.
Well, I thought there might be an opening for me here. After all, I'm a perfect 12, and I've had loads of experience modeling. You can check with Mr. Gillespie at High Style Incorporated or Mr. Farbstein at the...
Well, even if Mr. Wyatt were here, he's the head of the firm, you know, I doubt if this would be the right time to talk about taking Marcia's place. I think he was more upset than any of us about what happened.
Well, like I said, wasn't it perfectly awful? The paper said there was a note. She was afraid of something.
That I don't believe, Miss Brooks.
You don't?
Marcia and I were quite close. She wasn't afraid of anything. She was always happy and cheerful, especially yesterday when we had lunch together.
You don't say.
I even asked her what there was to be so happy about. Oh, she said it was a joke, and she'd tell me about it some other time.
Thank you.
A
yeah,
joke, huh?
I'm just
Isn't
putting
that
together
just
the little
perfectly
figurines now.
Awful. Now, if you'd like to leave your name...
Well, I would like to talk to Mr. Wyatt.
Till the episode's over.
He won't be in at all today. He's being honored at a luncheon at the Commodore, his club.
How perfectly exciting.
He even has a picture in the paper.
Oh?
Here.
Oh, my, he looks so friendly and chubby.
Marcia and I called Mr. Wyatt Cupid. Oh, but never to his face, if you know what I mean. Shall I tell him that you'll get in touch with him, Miss Brooks?
Oh, but definitely.
Well, your little interview at Mode Moderne, Angel, only makes this case screwier than ever.
Well, as soon as I heard about Mr. Wyatt and saw his angelic countenance in the paper, I thought he might fit in somewhere.
Yeah, a short, chubby little man hired our actress for him to play scrubwoman. Oh, he fits in all right, but not with the facts.
What do you mean, George?
Just a minute, Brooksy. Let's go and see Riley, see what he's got out of Stratton.
Oh, Valentine, I've been expecting you.
Good morning, Lieutenant.
Oh, yeah, Lieutenant.
Oh, so. Well, here's the way it stacks up this morning. The medical examiner goes along with the suicide theory. Gun, fingerprints, everything. Stratton here tells a straight story.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
So that's about it for now, Valentine.
Just one thing's been puzzling me.
Yeah?
Stratton, apartment 4A where Marcia lived has exactly the same layout as yours in 3A, hasn't it?
I suppose so. You know, these apartment houses, not much imagination.
But you said you fumbled for the light switch and got blood on it because you were over at the desk first.
That's exactly what you said, Stratton.
Well, I suppose so. I don't remember.
3 of us were there when you said it.
Now, why did you have to fumble for the light switch? It's exactly in the same place in Marcia's apartment as in yours, right next to the door.
Well, maybe I didn't explain myself just right.
You were planning Marcia's body at the desk where it was, and the gun, too.
No, you're
that
wrong.
you wanted to do in darkness. Then you put on the light and went running downstairs. That's why
Hold
you...
it, Valentine. Hold it. I'll take it from here.
Look, Lieutenant, you got to listen to me.
That smear of blood on the light switch put you square on the spot, fella. Now, the less you say now without a lawyer, the better. I'm holding you on suspicion of murder.
Well, you'll have to pardon us. Brooksy and I have a luncheon date at the Commodore.
Huh? Have we? Oh, yes.
Oh, wait a minute, Valentine. I want to talk to you
Maybe
about...
you're happy about this way this case washed out, Lieutenant, but I'm not. Go on, keep talking, Mr. Wyatt.
I don't know what to say. I should be inside in the ballroom, Mr. Valentine, talking to the fellows.
How can you even think of your silly club now, after everything that's happened?
All in all, it was a pretty elaborate job. Even hiring a character actress to build suspense.
Yes, I tried to think of everything.
You did?
Oh, it was a clever stunt, all right, getting Miss Palmer to write that letter to me. It amounted to a suicide.
I knew I couldn't afford to overlook a thing. I'm sorry. Sorry I ever got involved in the whole mess.
Okay, Mr. Wyatt, don't take it so hard. You better get back to your luncheon. And, oh, yeah, go easy on the cream chicken.
George, I'm still reeling.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, all right.
Oh, I know children can be children. But a grown man like Mr. Wyatt...
Oh, not a mere man, Angel. The new president of the Liars Club, being honored at the Commodore, no less.
Fantastic.
You see, Brooksy, he had to have the tallest story ever heard for this inaugural. And he probably would have had.
I'll say.
A suicide that wasn't a suicide. A missing body and all the trimmings. He knows all the names, facts, and answers. But still, there he was, free and unfettered to address all his fellow liars. Boy, can you top that one?
Not at the moment. But maybe Marcia wouldn't have been murdered at all if Mr. Wyatt hadn't dreamed up that gag.
No, Brooksy, we can be pretty sure she would have. You read Glenn Stratton's confession. He was insanely jealous. He was just waiting for the right opportunity.
Thinking back, it makes me shudder, George. To fool us, Marcia went down to Stratton's apartment, probably laughing at the joke. Then he killed her and brought her back upstairs.
Yeah. Wyatt must have cooked up the deal
You
with
guys
his
are so
favorite model
funny.
down at Stratton's
I love you
apartment.
guys in the chat.
That's why Wyatt told the phony scrub woman it was
So
3 a.m.
funny.
Darling, Riley's never going to forgive you for leaving him up in the air, not knowing whether he had the murderer or not.
Yeah, but I had to talk to my client, Brooksy.
Client?
Well, can you think of anybody else in the case I could pin for a fee? Except the biggest liar in the world?
George, I have an idea. Let's present him with a bill that will make even Mr. Wyatt scream, "It's a lie!"
It's often the little things that make your day a good one or a rough one. The simple business of starting your car, for example. If it's obstinate and gives you a bad time when you want to get going, it can add up to a lot of irritation. For fast starts every time and wherever you're driving, just try Chevron Supreme gasoline in your car. This premium quality gasoline is climate tailored, specially adapted to each different climate and altitude zone in the West. Day or night, summer or winter, you can depend upon it for fast starts. And that's a saving, too, of the power in your battery. What's more, Chevron Supreme gives your car smooth acceleration and extra power for rugged hills. Get a tank full tomorrow at any standard station or independent Chevron gas station where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear...
Hey, look, Barney, what was the idea of dragging me into this doorway when that car came up?
Boy, Mr. Valentine, did you see him turn around and beat it when he started getting to work?
What works? What happened?
Oh, we figured you might be followed when you left the Swede, so the Bearcats were ready on the roof with ash cans, bricks, cans of garbage, stuff like that. Boy, they let him have it.
I suppose I should say thanks.
Ah, nothing to it. Say, what'd you find out about Danny?
Nothing much, kid. Except that there are at least 2 characters who'd do anything to keep me from finding out.
Well, don't you worry. They won't. Not with the Bearcats on the job.
Okay, there you go. That's the episode of Let George Do It. Let George Do It. The Corpse That Took a Powder. That was a pretty good one, too. Stephanie Press, Connie Cleary, Edward Stewart, Red. Everybody that's hanging around still. Yeah, no, I'm all done. Finally, 4 streams later. It took some time with the lights and stuff, but I think it's really worth it. I think even they're not Lego minifigures, but I think I really, for FunWhole, I kind of like the style that they have. I mean, I think the minifigures, if I can get that shown to you good enough. Let's see, come on. Right there. I think they have a little bit of charm to them, if you can see that. Kind of cartoonish, but I mean, isn't Legos? I mean, you know, so this is just a different style, and I like that they took their own style when it came to making their minifigures. So, and there's a bartender that I get inside there, and like a customer, just a little cowboy guy over here. And of course I dropped that guy, and I'm not going to go back and get it. And then there's a little like side tree that I can put to the side. But yeah, the inside, I did show it earlier about halfway through the video, the inside. I think I will do a separate video on everything else. If I close this and I turn this around the best I can. I want to keep the lights on though, so you guys can kind of see. Okay, I know I'm in the upper right, and I could make it, let's see, can I make that totally bigger just for a second so you can see that? Let me see, video, where's it at? You know, I'm going to just put the video big. Fit the screen. Oh gosh. Okay, look what I did. Okay, let me see if I can get it up there. Okay, there you go. You can see it a little bit better now. There it is. It's completed. There's a little like side tree there that goes along with it. Water barrel on top. I like the front there, if you can see that too. I like how the front porch is all lit up. When the lights are out, which, can I turn some lights out? Let's see. Let me get that just a little bit darker. Hold on. Okay, let's see if that helps a little bit. Make it a little bit darker. Yeah, you can kind of see how it looks. It's not completely dark, but you can see in the windows, everybody, you can see in the windows, and I gotta tell you, it just looks so cool. The front porch, with all the lights off, this looks fantastic. And then, really quick, since I do got a little bit closer here, I will open up the back again, showing the inside, and that is just so darn cool. Those LED lights are a little big, I mean bright, but can I make that bigger? Can I zoom in? Let me see. I'm going to try to see if I can zoom in a bit. Center to screen vertically. I wish there was a zoom in. Yeah, I don't see a zoom in. I could like make the video bigger, I think. No, that's not gonna work either. Okay, it is what it is. It's fine. I gotta fix that again. But you guys get the idea. The closer I get here, yeah, you can kind of see a little bit. Look at the stairs on there. The upstairs is just so darn cool. I love it. Yeah, the little chairs in there, the piano. I will do a little bit more of an in-depth review. And I like that this closes for the back of the building. I mean, that just makes it... There's a side. Something going on upstairs, you know, in the bedroom. We don't want to talk about that, you know. It's not good to really talk about. I'm just joking. Yeah, and there's the saloon. There's the saloon. So, let me see. Looks awesome, Dino. Thank you, guys. It does. It's amazing. I'm on my phone so I can see it a bit closer. Okay, yeah. It's harder, I'm sure, on a phone or even a tablet, but piano music, broken bone bricks. I feel like it needs some piano. There is a piano in there. Broken bone bricks. Throughout the live streams, I have shown every detail that I've made. Okay, and if you look close enough, see under the staircase, broken bone, you can see the piano right there underneath the staircase. Feel like it needs some piano music, that is. Oh, piano music. Okay, gotcha. John Victor, what is up? And cue the bad whiskey food, George Valentine, Legos, and Formula Run. It's a good evening. Yes, John Victor. I am done. It took 4 streams. 3, 6, 9, 10, 12, around 12 hours, something like that. But the detail on the inside is just fantastic. I love this. And I wish every set, even the modulars, would come with like a swinging back door to open it up, just to make it, so that you can really enjoy. But yeah, there it is. Things are falling over. Okay, here we go. Once it's set in its position, I'm going to find a spot for it. And there is a sheriff's office that I think is really cool too. It's a FunWhole and lights up. That's going to go right next to it. So I can create kind of a little Western scene, which would be pretty darn cool. 4 streams, 12 hours. Yeah, it took a while to make this. I'm not sure what I'm going to make next. The amount of fights that will happen in there is unimaginable. Yeah, right? Broken Bone. Yeah, we know how that goes, right? Yeah. Go to a bar, get drunk, and, start a fight. She's mine. Anyways, as I'm very red here because of the lights, I turned off the white light. Thank you guys for being here in the stream again. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream tomorrow, but definitely Monday. I will start on something new. I'm not sure what it is yet, but whatever it is, should be pretty cool. Yeah, so I'll surprise you. But thank you guys for being here, as always. CBS Radio Mystery Theater on the Late Late Horror Show coming up next. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. And I will see you tomorrow with Dave. We're going to talk Columbo with Dave Plouffe. So there you go. I don't want to fight, just to go upstairs. Edward Stewart. You. Take care, y'all. Take care, Stephanie. Take care, everybody who stopped by.